Now it's time to talk about the linked list or the listing or the shortcuts inside Linux. Okay, now actually for that, we are using the ln command, which is the link command. So man ln to see, so you can see that make links between files. Okay, so here are the synopsis. You can see that the first form, the second, the third, fourth. You can see that we have a lot of options, a lot of arguments, the author, whatever. All right. Okay, now as simple as that. What is the most important? For example, let's make a directory. So let's name it ln dir. Okay, whatever. Okay, so now I want this ln dir to be linked. So let's make a dir2. It's okay. And actually, to make this directory without go to the directory, we already learned that. So dir1, and then we create dir2. And if it is dir1, if not existed, we can put the -p or -p option, so to make directory if the parent is not existed, but the parent existed, by the way. And ls-la or ls-l, sometimes some of the Linux distribution, it have this alias, which is the ll, which means the ls-l. Okay, by the way, it is alias. Now what is alias? Don't worry, we will talk about alias later on. All right. Now let's start using the ln option or ln command. So ln, the source, the destination. Okay, but by the way, it's better to use absolute path in my case. So you can see that if I type baud or pwd, you can see that I have the home Ubuntu, then ln, home Ubuntu, ln dir, and this means that I want this directory to be linked to another directory. Okay, so I want this lindir, and I will go home Ubuntu, and I will put lindir2. Okay, all right. So you can see that now hard link are not allowed for directories because we are linking between directories. We cannot do a hard link, so we will use in this option the soft link or the symmetric links. In other case, actually in Windows, they are called shortcuts. Okay, and they are very simple, by the way. But just by putting the -s option, which means symmetric or soft link. Okay, so by this, yeah, everything is as expected. You can see that lindir2 is now referring, that the one we created here, as you can see, which is the destination, is referring or linking or linked to lindir, which is this one. Okay, so far so good. So actually, if I type ls-l now, you can see that here ln dir2 is now, as you can see, there are arrow, is now listed or is now linked to the home Ubuntu indir or lindir. Okay, so if I go to lindir2, it will go me to the lindir2. Actually, if I create a directory here, let's name it dir, for example, whatever. Okay, and I return back. Let's clear the screen first. Then I will go to lindir this time. Okay, not lindir2, and I type ls. You can see dir is existed as well. So you can see that any modification, I create files, I create something, I delete something, actually anything here inside lindir2 will be referred to lindir2. By the way, lindir2, because we created as a soft links or a symmetric links, actually they are a shortcut to the lindir, which means that this is just a pointer to the lindir, not a copy. On the other hand, the hard link is something else. So if I go back here, you can see that lindir2 is now inside or the same thing as lindir. Okay, now let's remove it. rm-rf lindir, and let's delete the lindir. But before I delete it, actually I want to show you something. So actually, if I go to lindir2 like this, you can see that I am inside the lindir2, and actually the lindir2 is the same as lindir. We saw that because after we created this directory, the same directory is created there. Actually, it is the same directory, not something new or something copied. Okay, now what if I want to go, let's clear the screen first, sorry. So what if I want to go to the actual, not the link, by the way, you can see that now it is a bright blue here. As you can see, the color is different than the color here, which means this is a list And if I go to it, we saw that we are inside the lindir2. But what if I want to go to the actual directory, not the, so by typing ls-l, I mean I don't need to go to lindir2, I need to go to the actual directory, which is the home Ubuntu lindir. How to do that? We will use the cd-p option, and then I will go to the lindir2. And actually p option or p capital, sorry about this. So you can see that p option with a capital P and go to lindir2, it will go to lindir, which is the physical actual directory, not the linked list or the copy from it, because you know that this is a linked list, a symmetric linked list that referring or pointing to the lindir. We will go directly to the actual or the original directory, which is the lindir. And as you can see, yeah, we are inside the lindir. All right. Now we learned about the symmetric links. Now let's learn about the hard link. So actually the hard link is the same format, but without using the -s option, as you can see. So symmetric -s, hard link without -s. Okay. So source destination. The source is remoting to jar. And again, the directory doesn't accept hard link, just a soft link. But the regular files, yeah, accept that. It's okay. So here I want this remoting jar. I want to create a link from it, so it will be referred to this. But actually, it's better to have a text file. Yeah. So I will use the touch command, or let's use this command. Actually, it's good to practice that. So echo hello. And I will use the redirection. Don't worry about these. We will talk about these in details, but follow me for now. Actually, so t.text. Okay. All right. Let's clear the screen and let's see. Now we have the t.text. If I cat it or concatenation using the concatenation, yeah, we have the hello inside it. Now ln t.text, and it's better. We saw that it is better to put the absolute path. Okay. But by the way, it works. Even if you didn't provide the absolute path, it works. But sometimes it will give you infinite loop. So, and actually this is a bad practice to put a relative path inside the linked list. Sometimes it worked, but I don't prefer it. From my personal opinion, I don't prefer the relative path for the linked list. Okay, either hard link or soft link. So yeah, t.text. Now this is the source, the destination. It will be the same. Home Ubuntu t2.text, okay, which is the linked list. All right, ls. Now you can see that we have t and we have t2. Okay, so if I remove the original file either as let's try as a linked list soft link or as a hard link. So let's remove -rf the lindir, which is the one we created, and this is referring or pointing to it. ls-la, or let's clear the screen, sorry about this, ls-l. You can see that lindir2 is now red, which means that this file couldn't be found. So if I type ln dir2, or sorry, let's go to ln dir2, you can see that no such file or directory. Okay, because this file is not exist anymore, but it is existed. You can see that it is here, but we cannot go to it because lindir2 that was pointing to lindir is not existed anymore. All right, but on the other hand, the hard link, so let's have a look here. If I remove the t.text, okay, not the t2, and if I type ls, you can see that we have it here, ls-l. We still have it not read. So if I cat it t2.text, you can see that, yeah, it is hello as well. All right. So you can see that the soft link is something like the shortcut. In Windows, it is the shortcut. Okay. If you are coming from Windows, I mean. But here, the hard link is no, it will create a copy, the same copy from the file. It is just like the copy. It will create a copy from it. And if the origin is deleted, it's okay. So you may ask me, but what is the difference? What is hard link? What is the difference between copying the file or the hard link? Okay, for the soft link, we saw. Yeah, it is just like the shortcut, and yeah, it worked. If we removed the original, it will be removed or it will be read like this. But the hard link, actually, no, it is not like the copy, because any modification on the original or any modification on T2, it will be applied to the original. Okay, let's see. Let's see again. Let's clear the screen. Now let's remove -rf T2. We don't need this file actually. Let's create another file. Let's remove directory lindir2. It's okay, we didn't need them. Now let's create this file. Okay, this time I will use the touch command, which is T1 or t.txt, and inside it I can put this command or this thing. This is t.txt. Okay, I will use redirection. Now please don't get confused. Again, I will talk about these later on. Okay, so t.txt like this, and if I cat it, let's see what inside it. Yeah, we have this is t.txt. Okay, so far so good. Let's clear the screen, and now let's put ls. Now let's ln home ubuntu t.txt. Sorry about this. I pressed enter by mistake. Now here home ubuntu and t2.txt. Okay, so we are creating a hard link from this regular file or text file. The source is t.txt, and we saw what inside it. This is t.txt, and here we have the t2.txt, and let's press enter. Let's ls here. We have t and t2. If I cat the t2, we already saw what inside t.txt. This is a t.txt, but here this is t.txt as well. Okay, so far so good. All right, you may ask me, but this is the same as the copy. Yeah, okay. Now if I edit the content of t2 I will use Vim for now. Don't worry about Vim, we will talk about it in details, but for now just follow me. All right, okay, so t2.txt, and here inside it I will put another line. Okay, and let's save this. Okay, all right, now let's cat t.txt, not t2.txt, and let's see. Yeah, you can see that we edited or we modified t2.txt, but the modification has been applied to the t.txt, which is another line, which means that t2 and t, they are connected together. So any modification happens on t2 or t, they will be applied to each other. So again, this time let's modify t.txt, not t2.txt. So t like this. Let's modify third line. Okay, whatever. Let's save and see. Now let's cat t2. We modified t.txt. Now it's time to see t2. Let's see. Yeah, third line. So you can see by practice that t2 and t, they are connected together. But the difference between soft link and hard link is that soft link, if you remove the original, and we already saw that by doing this practice on the directories, which is lindir, what we saw. But the hard link, no. If you delete the original, the t2 or the hard linked file, it will be stand still. It will not be removed, and it will be working as fine as it's okay. Cool. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. Now let's put this command, and you can see that we have the long list format. Now it's time to talk about all of these. Well, actually not all of them. First now, let's talk about the first part, which is this part. And what is this? What is this? Okay, now you can see that we have the first part, which is this. Now we have this symbol, which is D, or this letter D, or minus dash, let's say, or sometimes it's L or something else. What are those? Well, actually this is the type of the file. So here, as you can see, dir1, remoting, these are D, which means directory. Okay, now the slash here, or sorry, the dash here, as you can see here for this or this text file or this t2, these are a regular file. Okay, now if we have a linked list, so let's have a linked directory. So link dir2 to dir2, anything, it's okay. Let's have it as a symbol or as a symmetric. Now if we go have it again, now we have L. Okay, now this is just arbitrary link. Okay, so now we have L. L means a link file. Okay, now actually there are other files like pipe, special files, a lot of things. You can read about it, but these are the most important ones: the directory, the text files. We have the linked files or linked list files. Okay, all right, so far so good. Now it's time for the part 2, which is these bits. Now what are those? As you can see, we have read, write, execute, or RWX, RWX, RWX. What are those actually? These are for the read, write, execute. R for read, W for write, X for execute. But we have them duplicates. What are those? Please, read, write, execute. Then we have read, write, execute, and then we have a third read, write, execute. Now, actually, these are for the user, which is the owner of the file, which is Ubuntu in my case here. The group, the second 3 bits, which is for the owner group or the group for this file or this directory, which is in my case as well, it is Ubuntu. And we have the read, write, execute, the third bits, which is for the others. Others, which means that any other user or group on the system can have either read, write, or execute, or the three of them, which is read, write, execute in my case. So anyone in the system can read and write and execute on this directory, which is something bad, I know, but just follow me. By the way, the root directory doesn't have this permission, only for the owner, which is the root owner. Not even for the group, no, only for the owner, which is something more secure, because only the root user can do whatever it wants with this specific secret file, okay? All right. Now, I want you to follow me. Now, how to change the permission for this file, okay? Well, actually, we will start testing on the dir 1, okay? Or actually, let's have on t.text, okay? The first thing I want to remove the t2.text because they are a linked list, actually. So we don't need to get confused here. So ls-la or -l, we can have this on the t.text, okay? All right. Now, for changing the user mode, we need to use the ch mode, which is change mode, okay? Change mode, we have 2 ways of changing the mode. We have the binary mode or the numeric number, or we have the second way, which is the letter mode, okay? Using the UGO. Okay, now we will handle both of way, so don't worry. So the first thing, let's have ch mode. Then we provide the permission here, okay? Then we put the name of the file, which is t.text in my case, okay? Now, what are the permission? I will start with the numeric way or the numbers way, okay? Now I will put a binary value translated or from the integer to give what we want, okay? Now, again, we have for the user and for the group and for the other, the user, which is the owner of the file, okay? Sorry, for this file, okay? So, the first part, which is the read, write, execute for the owner. Now, the read, it will give you 4. Follow me for now. The write, which is the W bit, it will give you 2, and the execute, it will give you 1. So it will be start from here, 1, 2, 4. So depends on what you want. Calculate and sum all the permission you want, then put the value. So for example, I want it to be read, write, execute. So I will sum 1 plus 2 plus 3, plus 4, which means 4, which means 7. 4 plus 3, which means 7. So 7. 7's mean read, write, execute. Now, this is for the owner. Now, let's start with the group part, which is read, write, execute. Another thing, I need it to be read, execute only. So I will calculate, or I will sum 1 plus 4, which is read and execute. Execute is 1, write is 2, read is 4. Okay, so 4 plus 1, which means 5. So it will be 5. Now, for the last part, which is the other part, I want it to be 0, which means no read, no write, no execute. Okay, so it will be 0. So it will be 750. And now, if I type it like this, and if I type ls-l, and let's have a comparison between this one and this one. So you can see that here we have read, write without execute, which means dash. Dash here means no bit has been set, which means no execution. Here, no write bit, on here, no execution bit. But here, after we done it, now we have read, write, execute. So you can see that execute has been added. Read, execute only, which means the execute has been added and the write has been removed. And we have the dash, which means no permission at all for the others, but So you can see comparison with here, we removed the read as well. All right. So far so good. Now this is the first method. Now it depends on you what you want. So read only, write only, execute only, read execute, read write execute, write execute, write with read with only, execute only, whatever you want. Put whatever you want, depends on that. Put chmod, put the permission you want, 555 for example, and the name of the file you want to change the permission for. Okay. Okay. Now this is the first way. Okay, ls-l again. Now the second way, which is using the letters way. Now we will have the UGO, which means user, group, other, and we will use plus, minus, equal, and then provide read, write, execute. Okay. And we have the S, but the S, which is the special permission, we will talk about it later on in this lecture. Don't worry. All right. Now, actually, this is the most preferred way that everyone use it. They will not use the binary way. They use this way because this is much readable, human readable actually. And actually, from my personal opinion, I use this. Again, it depends on what you prefer and so on. So yeah, you prefer that way, you are used to that way, it's okay. Or you want to get used to that way, it's okay. But from my personal opinion, it's better to have as simple as possible, because when things go down, when you, for example, you are a DevOps engineer on this company and this company servers is going down and you want to change a permission or you want to do something, so it's better to have a simple approach, because the errors or the human errors will be less than when comparing if you are using a complex way. Okay. Well, actually, this is my personal opinion. After all, you choose what you want. Okay. Now let's start. For example, now let's see have this t.txt file. We have the read, write, execute, and we have nothing for the other. So, for example, I want for the user to have the read, write, execute, and the group to have read, execute, and the other to have execute. Now, actually, I will talk about it this fast. So the first thing, the U and G and O equal read, write, execute. So this will give you, as you can see, we have equal, we have plus, we have minus here. Plus, add, minus, remove this, equal, it will be absolute like this. So t.txt file, which is the name of the file. Sorry about this. Yeah. So chmod, the user or the owner, the group, and the other equal read, write, execute. And let's have it here. So if I type ls-l, you can see that this time it is read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. All right. Now, actually, we can have it again, which is chmod ugo, this time minus read, write, execute, as you can see, and put the t of text, which is this time the user and the owner, the group, remove the read and the write and the execute. So let's put it like this, ls-l, and you can see that the t.txt file has no permission at all. All right. So far, so good. Again, chmod ugo plus read, execute. Oh, sorry, without space here. Plus read, execute to the t.txt file. Okay. So this will give us only read, write for everything, which is this one. Let's clear the screen and let's have another look. Well, actually, instead of using the ugo, because you are writing to everyone, to all, you use A equal read, write, execute to the t.txt file. Okay. Now let's have a look. Here, A means all, everyone. So the user, the group, the other. So if you look here, yeah, this time instead of read, write only, it will be read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. So far, so good. And for example, if you want the other to be nothing, okay, so you can just type other minus read, write, execute t.txt. So this will remove the read and write and execute from the text file. Sorry, I forgot to put the chmod here. Sorry. Yeah, chmod. The other will be no read, no write, no execute, as simple as that. And if I type it here, you can see that it is very simple. Now, actually, it is better. I will not handle every situation here or every case, but it's better to have a real hands-on. Please open your terminal, get your hands dirty, and try everything possible for this temporary files, whatever file you have. Now, enough with that. Let's talk about another subject. Now, I want to talk about what is the difference between the directory and a regular file as a read or write or execute. So as a read, yeah, the text file is readable. So let's have a comparison between t.text and let's make a directory. Let's name it dir ls, for example, or dir1. But for that, let's remove. Yeah, let's remove dir1, and let's remove dir2 as well, and let's put the -rf. So ls-l. This time we don't have them. Sorry, let's remove the dir2 as well. So you can see that we don't have them. Let's make another directory and let's name it dir1. Okay. So let's have a here. Look, yeah, dir1, and we have t.text file. Okay. Now for the file or the regular file, which is t.text, readable means I can concatenate it, I can echo it, I can open it using any text editor. Okay. So you can see that it can be readable. So if I t.text, you can see that we have this arbitrary lines or arbitrary text, whatever. Okay. But if I removed the permission from everyone, which is all -r, okay, I will remove the read permission. By the way, you can, instead of a -r, you can put just -r and the t.text. This will work as well. Okay. So if you have a look here, nothing is readable. T.text is not readable. So t.text permission denied. Even though you can see that I am the owner of the file. You can see that Ubuntu, I am the owner of the file. By the way, this will not work on the root user. So if I type sudo cat, and don't worry about the sudo, this we will talk about it in a separate lecture and full details about the sudo, what is. But for now, keep in your mind, sudo is used to run specific command as another command, as another user, which is in my case as the root user. So I'm running the cat as the full permission user, which is the root user, cat t.text. You can see that even though you can see that no one has a read bit enabled, you can see that the root user, which is by doing this command, is able to read the file because this is the king user, which means the full permission user. It can read anything, can do anything. He's the owner of the system, you know. So that's why it's very dangerous to have him or to have this user compromised. Anyway, let's return back. All right. So we saw what means the read for the t.text. So chmod again. Let's put please increase the read for the t.text or a t.text. It's okay. A plus read for the t.text. It's okay. It will do the job. All right. Let's clear the screen and put ls-l again. Now this is readable for the read file. Okay. For the write file, it is the same. So I can write content to this file. By the way, this is depend on either the owner, the group, or the other. So if I have for the owner read but without write, and on the group I have it as a write, or on the others I have it as a write, well, actually the owner will not be able to write on the file, but the others will be able to write on the files. By the way, this doesn't make sense, I know, but just keep that in your mind. Okay. So for a regular text file, the read to read the file, the write to write to the file or modify the file, and execute if you want this file to be executable. So you are writing a bash script, Python script, PHP, whatever. So you want it to be executable. Okay, now this is the first thing for a regular text file. But for a directory, okay, this is different now. So for the read, yeah, it is very simple. You can read the content of the directory, which means what are the directories inside it, what are the regular files inside, and so on. For the write, very simple. You can modify the directory. So you can create new directories inside it. You can modify its name. By the way, modify, which means modify its name, modify the content, either in a regular file or a directory. Okay. And we can create a text file inside this directory, which is the writable, which means this directory is write. But finally, what is the execute bit for the directory? We know that what it is for the regular file. The regular file, which means this file is executable to execute commands, bash script, Python, whatever. But for the directory, the executable actually is go inside it. So execute a specific directory means I can go inside this directory. Now let's see, have this here. So let's have chmod execute. Let's remove the execute from everyone on dir1. Okay, so ls-l. Now we don't have any execute permission on dir1. So if I try to go inside it, even though I am the owner of this, you can see that permission denied. All right. So even if I type ls, by the way, you can see that it is readable for everyone. Where it is here. Yeah, it is readable for everyone. Other, owner, the group, whatever. Dir1, you can see that I'm able to read what is inside it, but I cannot do or create anything inside it. So if I create a directory, or let's create a text file, or directory anyway, let's create a directory inside it. So let's name it dir2, but this time we want it to be inside dir1. So yeah, you can see that permission is denied. Why is that actually? Even though I am the owner, which is Ubuntu, as you can see, I am Ubuntu, and I have a right permission. You can see, even my group have right permission, but you can see that because I am not able to go inside it, because actually under the hood, make dir command, what is this command do actually is go inside the directory, which is dir1, and then we create a directory called dir2. So that's why I don't have the permission to go inside the dir1. Okay. Again, by the way, if you are using the sudo or the root command, the sudo command with the root permission and privilege, you are able to do whatever you want. Okay, because this is the king on the system. It can do anything you want. All right. Now we have talked enough about the permission. Now we didn't talk anything about how to change the owner or the group of this file. Okay, actually we have two commands. We have the chown. This is to change either the owner or the group, by the way, or the group and the owner. And we have the change grb, which is change group. Okay, and this is to change the group of this file or directory. Okay, let's try have a hands-on real quick. So chown. So this time I will choose another user. Let's name it test, for example. Change owner test to the t.text, but maybe this will not work because actually the test is not a real user actually. So I want to change it this time for the root user. Okay, so if I type root, you can see that operation not permitted. Yeah, how can you change to a root, which is the king user? So you can't do that actually. So you need a permission for that, and you need to provide the sudo command. Okay. And by the way, I have this shortcut for you. So instead of typing this and type the sudo command, you can type the sudo shift11, which means the exclamation mark. And here to run the previous command, which is this one, which is change root to the t.text with sudo permission. And if I type it here, you can see that, yeah, it worked fine, and it print what is the previous command, which is sudo chown root t.text. And here, yeah, you can see that t.text now, as you can see here, previously it was Ubuntu, but here it is root. So if I try to read it or do whatever I want, so actually maybe I can, because I am the group after all. Here you can see that I am inside the group, the Ubuntu group. Anyway, who cares? Let's say, yeah, you can see that I am able, even though the owner is the root, but maybe because it is have other permission to read the file. Anyway, no big deal. Now what if I want to change? Let's clear the screen first. I want to change the owner and the group, or the group. So grb and root. By the way, every user created on Linux has a group. So Ubuntu user have a group called Ubuntu group as well. Okay, so root user has a root group as well. So root change group, as you can see, change group root for the t.text file. And of course we need a permission. So sudo shift1, which is exclamation mark. And yeah, so if I type it like this, you can see this time the owner is root and root. Okay, now what if I want to change this root and the group root with one command? I don't need that. So actually I need to provide sudo chown this time. But you may ask me how to do that. Yeah, actually, you put the name of the user. We already saw that. And in my case, I want it to be Ubuntu. You put now the colon, then provide the Ubuntu as well, t.text, which is the name of the file. This will change the owner which is the user, and the owner group, which is Ubuntu. And actually, from my personal opinion, it's better to have chown because it is much newer than the chgrp. But it depends on you what you prefer. Everything will work. No performance here, nothing security. It will do. It's just your preferences. Okay, so let's have a look here. Yeah, you can see that I am able now to change the owner and the group of the t.text, and it worked fine. Okay, now we have another command, which is the id. So actually id here, if you can see, if I type it here, if I type man id, you can see it will print the real and effective user and group id of the current user. So the current user I have, which is Ubuntu. If I type id, you can see that this is the user id, which is 1000. This is the GID, which is 1000. The groups I am in, which is Ubuntu, and this is the GID for it, as you can see. Here are some of the information, some of the groups I am inside it. So you can see that I am inside the sudo group. Don't worry about the sudo. We will have a detailed lecture about it. Don't worry at all. And here are some of the other groups for the system. Actually, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you can see that by typing the ID, we know what are the group the Ubuntu is inside, which is Ubuntu, ADM, dial out, whatever, CD-ROM, floppy, sudo, which is something very important. We will talk about it, don't worry, and a lot of other things. Okay, now actually we have another command, which is the groups. So you can see that we have the groups like this. So you can see it will print only the groups that user or the current user, which is Ubuntu in my case, is in, which is Ubuntu, ADM, dial out, CD, floppy, sudo, audio, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Now, one last thing I want to mention here in this lecture. I know the lecture took too long time, but actually these are the most important things in the Linux, which is the permission. Well, actually not the most important, one of the most important. All right. So, which is the special permission? Okay, so let's clear the screen first and let's ls-l. Now, for the special permissions, actually, we have 3 special permissions. The SUID or the set user ID, the SGID, which is the set GID, and we have the sticky bit, which is the sticky bit for the directories only. Now, let's have a look. Don't worry, we will have that in details. Now, the first thing, actually, how to implement or how to apply these permissions, actually using something we already use, which is the chmod. Yeah, and you need them for this file, which is t.text. And you need them for what? For user or group or other. Let's use them for all. So all equal. Or let's put plus, which means increase that. Okay, we already learned that. I'm assuming that you are familiar now with the chmod command. Now, this time I will not use read or write or execute. This time I will use a special letter called S, either small or T small. Now, S, let's start with the S first, then we will go the T, don't worry. The S, which means the special permission. Okay, which means the special permission for the SUID or the group ID. So I plus S to the t.text. Now you can see that we have them here. If I type here, yeah, you can see that it is now red, highlighted in red. And you can see that the RWS, not RWX. You can see previously it was RWX, and now it is write WS. And again, it is read, write, execute for the group. And here it is read, write S, which means special. All right, now you can see that it is small. Why it is small? What is the difference between the small and the capital? Now, the small, which means the execute bit is set, which means that this group is executable and it has the special permission. Okay? And here, the same thing for the user, which means the special permission is set and it has the executable enabled for the owner. Now, what are what are the special permissions? Now, to be honest, the special permissions, as simple as that, it is just run this file, and actually it's better to have an executable file, to be honest, not for a regular file or a text file just to read or write. No, actually, these are worked actually exactly the use case for the executables files, either executable files or executable directories. So executable files, in my case, let's imagine I have a bash script here or Python. So which means run this file as the owner, which means as the privilege of the owner. So imagine if this is a root owner, and run this file as the owner, which means I run this file as a root, which means this is a very huge security breach, or on the other hand, it is something you already used for this purpose. Okay, so you need to be careful here because this is something dangerous. If the owner is root, you need to be careful here. Okay, so this means that anyone can execute this as the root, which means it has the privilege of executing root commands, which means you compromise the whole system, which is something very dangerous. Now for the group, it is the same. You can see that we have it here, which means run this file, this executable file, which let's imagine it is a bash script. Okay, run this bash script as the group owner, which is not the owner only, or as a group. So which means that it will run first as owner and it will run as a group as well. Okay, by the way, there are precedents here. The first precedence for the owner, then the group, then we have the other. Okay, anyway, now you can see that on the other part or the other executable here, it is not. All right, now but before that, let's put the same command, which is a plus s, but this time I will put s capital, which is as this. You can see that, yeah, it give me error. Okay, now if I press minus, it will give me error. Okay, so how to do that? Which is minus x from t, from everyone. If I type it like this, if I type l s dash l this time, you can see that now it is s capital, not as small, which means the executable bit under it or inside it is set to off, which means it is dash like this. Okay, but previously you can see that it is s small, but now it is s capital, which means s capital, the executable bit for the group or the owner is set to no, or set to null, or no executable bit are enabled. Now the last thing, let's talk about the sticky bit, and actually this is only work on the directories. Okay, so how to do that? chmod a, let's assume it's a plus. Now this time I will not use s, this time I will use t. By the way, a t capital will not work as this s as well here inside this chmod, so you need to remove the executable bit from it. Okay, so let's add that sticky bit for the dir one, and let's have a look here. Oh, cool. So you can see that now it has, and by the way, it is t capital as we mentioned previously in the s case here, as you can see, which means that the executable bit is set to 0 or none, which means that no executable bit here. Okay, now if I type chmod let's say other plus executable, and we want for it for the dir one, and let's have ls-l, you can see that it is not t capital this time, it is t small, by the way. And again, what are the sticky bit? We already learned what are the SUID or GID, which is for the user or the group, and actually these are for the directory, for the regular file, actually for the executable file as well. But for the sticky bit, it is only for directories, and this means that only the root user, which is the king user, or the owner of the file can remove this file or this directory. Actually, this is only work for directories. Where it is that in the system, you can see if you go to the tim directory. So actually, let's clear the screen. ls-l for the tim directory. You can see that we have it here. So you can see that. Sorry, I need for the tim directory itself. So if I type it like this, actually, you can see that it has the t permission, which is the sticky bit, and it is executable because it is t small. Okay, so this means that only the root or the file owner on this directory, which is /temp, let's have a look here. Actually, it's good. So which means, for example, this file, only the mapper user For this file, only the root. Yeah, by the way, this is the root only. For this file, only the Ubuntu user can remove this directory or remove this directory. Only the mapper can remove this directory or the root, by the way. And here, the same thing for the Ubuntu mapper and as well. Okay, so this is what sticky bit are. Sorry for the long lecture, but actually it is very important. If you didn't understand, you can ask me question, or you can read the theory part again. You will understand everything there. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. Alright, now it's time to talk about how to find a specific files. Okay, so in this lecture, we will use two commands, the find command and the locate command. Okay, now let's start with the find command. So let's have ls here. So let's make this text file, which is t.text. Let's use the touch command. Touch command will create a text file for you. So here, echo. Let's put whatever value. It's okay, nothing big deal. And use the direction. Don't worry, we will talk about these later on. No worries for now. So echo this and put it inside the t.text. Okay, now let's clear the screen and have ls here, so will be more clean. Now, I will use the find command. Now, I want to search in the current directory, which is dot, or where I want to search for this file. So, for example, slash, which means root, or slash home, okay, or whatever file I put here, the absolute path, okay, or the dot, which is the current path, and this means that find dot dash name. So this is the name of the file, which is t.text, and let's press enter. You can see that, yeah, we found it, and this is the path for it, which is dot slash t.text. The dot means the current directory, which is, if I type baud, which is home Ubuntu. Okay. Now, if I found, or if I put t, but this time the t is capital, you can see we cannot find it, right? So to do such a thing, or to remove such a thing, we will use the I name, dash I name, not dash name, which means ignore the case. So if I type here, yeah, we found t.text. We ignore, as you can see, I, which means ignore the case. So far, so good. Now, what if I want to do specific things with this command? Okay, sorry, with this file that we found. So for example, the output dash ls, which means print the output as a list format. But by the way, this is the ls, which is from the find command. This is not the system ls. Or I think they, under the hood, they use the ls, but they add specific things at it, like this one or this things, whatever. Okay. Now, what if I want to execute commands after I found this file? So for example, I am searching for temporary files, and these files I want to delete them. So how to do that? I will use the exec option. So dash exec and put whatever option you want. So ls-l, for example. This is the commands I want to execute. And don't forget, we put the braces here, or the curly brackets, then backslash dot. Okay, enter. You can see that, yeah, we found it. This is the file, and the last modified, the user, the group, the permission, and whatever. Okay, so actually we execute the ls command for this file that we found, or these files that we found. Okay, so for example, so let's have t1.text. Okay, let's create t1, t2, t3. Okay, and if I found it again here, ignore the cases. We only find one, of course, because we are using the t.text. Now, what if I type instead of .text the wildcard or the arithmetics, shift 8? So like this, you can see that we have found 1, 2, 3, 4, or the t.text. All of them have been found, okay? Because star means here everything possible, which is the wildcard. Well, I'm assuming that you are familiar with that. Anyway, so let's clear the screen and let's ls-l. Let's see what we have. So, for example, these are temporary files in the system, log file, for example, or system errors, or something. I don't need them. For example, I want to archive them, and we already have a process archiving that, but I want to delete them. Well, I'm just assuming this is the case. By the way, all of that can be handled by the cron job. You don't need to do that manually. Actually, this is something automated. can be done, or Jenkins or whatever. But anyway, don't worry about the cron jobs. By the way, we will talk about it. I want to find dot dash I name, and the name is T star, which is anything. And I want to execute this command, and this command this time will be rm-rf, and put the curly brackets slash dot, okay, like this. So if I type this, sorry, maybe I forgot something. So yeah, it will be like this. If I type like this, yeah. Did you know why this happened? So actually, let's have this time ls-l and see why this happening. Because you can see that there is something here. Ignore the cases here. If I took T capital this time, so you can see that the problem is with the T small. So if I type dash I name, I need to provide the T as a capital, or the letters as a capital, which means either capital or small. Okay, this is how find command work. Okay, so let's clear and let's have another look. This time I want to remove. All right, so rm-rf. So let's have a look. You can see that there is something here. Yeah, we already delete that, but if you notice here, while we are searching, we looked for this and this and this and this, but we find this, which is total 0. So we don't need, so that considered to be not found. So you can see that the cache to temp or something, no such file or directory or whatever, it considered to be that. Anyway, you can see that we already deleted the files and everything worked correctly. Now the other command, which is the locate. Okay, so let's have another file, which is t.txt again. And sorry about this. So, and I will copy this file and put it inside the temp directory. But again, don't worry about the copy command, the move command, renaming the files, names, or whatever. All of that will be handled in the next lectures. But don't worry. So for now, follow me. Copy from source to destination, and I will name it t.txt, or let's put it as is and let's put it there. So if I type the locate command t.txt, you can see that it will start looking for anything text. So here is text, whatever, something, and you can see that if I look here, you don't know, or there are nothing called t.txt. Okay, so I need to provide another command, and this command called update db. So this is to update the database for the locate to be working. So sudo for the thing, and yeah, you can see that we already updated that, and now it's time for running the locate command t.txt, and you can see that this time, yeah, we found it. So you can see that it is here, the home ubuntu t.txt, but by the way, we can't find it in the temporary. Maybe he don't have access there, or I don't know actually. But anyway, we have it here and everything is working as expected. Alright, thanks for watching. Now we will start to talk about how to viewing files with more details or more options. Okay. Now we learned about the cat or concatenation. So you can see I have this t.txt file. So cat t.txt like this, and it will print everything inside it. Okay. As you can see, because this is not a large file, so it print everything on the standard output without issue. Okay, but for example, let's have this, which is one of the log file in the system, auth.var whatever. Okay, so if I cat it, you can see that it print a lot of things, as you can see. Yeah, as you can see, everything has been printed outside, and we don't need that. For example, now imagine if you have 2000 line, for example, or something like this. So this is bad. So in that case, we will use either more or less. Okay, so if I type more slash var log auth, for example, you can see that not everything has been, nothing has been printed. So you can see more the var log auth whatever. Okay, but here we have only 18% of it. So if I keep pressing enter, you can see that 23, 30% and so on. Okay, until I reach the end. Okay, all right. Now if I press Q, it will quit from this more. Okay, now this is the same thing for less. So if I type less like this, var log auth dot something or dot log, you can see it is the same, but this time it is more flexible because I am able to use the arrow now. So you can see the right arrow, the left arrow, you can see that it is more feature. It has more feature. Actually, it has a lot of things. By the way, if I type or put slash like this and put, for example, Unix, okay, and press enter, you can see that it will start highlighting every Unix in the whole file. Okay, so I keep pressing enter, down arrow, up arrow, left arrow, right arrow, everything will work. Now to quit, just press Q and it will quit from the list. Now I want to talk about the two ways also, which is head and tail. Now head, actually, it will print the first number of lines, the first some number of lines, and the tail, it will print the end lines. You specify the number of lines. So head, by default, it will print the first 10 lines. So if I type var log auth like this, so you can see that we printed only the first 10 lines. All right. It is the same thing for the tail as well. So tail var log auth dot log, you can see that we printed the last 10 lines. Okay. Now if I want to increase the head or tail, so I will provide the option dash which the number. So dash 20, which means the first 20 lines. Yeah, you can see that they are 20 now. All right. And the same thing for the tail, dash number of lines, so 100 for example, it will print the last 100 line. Now we have this option on the tail, which is the tail f or tail dash f actually. Okay, now var log auth. Now this is, but as it's being written to. So if I have this Nginx or Apache.access log, and I want to see all the logs or all the error logs, for example, I will press this and press enter. As you can see, I am still on the tail program. I didn't quit from it. So any new logs or any new errors written to this file, which is var log auth, it will be printed here. Okay, and you can see it as a real time. All right. Now finally, let's talk about the Nano editor. Well, actually, I don't prefer Nano. I prefer Vim. It's much powerful. It has a lot of features, and actually, it comes almost with all systems. Okay, even if you have an older server, they don't have Nano. They have Vim by default. So you need to learn Vim actually. But for now, just open Nano. You can see that you can type whatever you want as a text editor. As you can see, visual text editor. And here, Control X to exit, Control G to get help, Control read out, where is to search something, replace, as you can see, and cut text as a copy or paste, undo, redo. Actually, it is very powerful. I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't prefer it. All right. So if I want to quit, and no or yes. And depends on that, you will save whatever you want. Okay. Okay. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. All right. Now it's time to talk about the Vim. Now, actually, we have three utilities now, or three programs: the VI or Vim or Vue. So actually, the VI is the same as Vim, but the Vim is improved and it has more features. Okay. And the Vue, it will open any text file only as a read only. Okay, so you have a secret file, or for example, so yeah, let's test on t.text. So vi or vi t.text, you can see that we open the t.text using the vi. But if I type vim.t.text, you will not see the difference here actually, because either actually maybe they are referenced to each other. So the v or the vi is the same as the vim. Actually, they are linked together, I guess. Well, anyway, we have the Vue, which is t.text. So you can see that here, you can see it is read only. All right. So if you are opening a configuration file, very crucial file in the system, you don't need to do any mistake, any stupid mistake. So you can just using the Vue t.text. By the way, opening the file using Vim or Vi, whatever, from now on, we will start using Vim. Okay. So you can see that opening any file, it is not readable as well. As you can see, I can't put anything. Yeah, but because I press the insert button or insert mode by mistake, but you can see by default, I can't put anything or I can't do anything. All right. Anyway, Now let's start with the Vim shortcuts, all right? But for now, actually, I want to open a large file. So let's open one of the varlog auth.log, whatever, okay, whatever files. You can see that, yeah, now it is highlighted. By the way, if I open that using vi, I think it will not be highlighted, I guess. Let's see. No, it is highlighted. Yeah, as I told you, the Vim and vi, they are linked together. Actually, they're referring to the same program. All right. Anyway, now I am here. As you can see, I can use the left, right, up button, down arrow, and you can see it will work as expected. As you can see the cursor, I can choose it or move it wherever I want. Now, if I want to go to the first line, I will use the hat, which is the shift 6. You can see that I am on the first of the line of the current cursor position. So you can see that the cursor is here, shift 6, which is the hat, and you can see that it will give me, and it will move the cursor to the first of the line. Now, to go to the line, to go to the end of the line, shift 4, which is the $sign. So you can see that now I am at the end. Okay, so now shift 6, it will go to the first line, and shift 4, which is $sign, it will go to the end of the line. All right. Now it's time to modify and start with the inserting mode. Now we have the I small, I capital, A small, A capital, and O. Okay. Now actually these are the most important ones I put in the theory. So actually, if you read the theory part, you can see that I put a lot of options and shortcuts there. These are the most important ones, but this is not just Vim. Vim actually do a lot of things, like replacement, a lot of things actually, but these are the most important one. You can read more about Vim, by the way. So here, if I want to insert a line at the current cursor, you can see I will use the I small. I small, you can see that I am opening the file. But by the way, you can see warning, you are changing a file in a read only mode. Okay. So because this is, I think it is for the root only, can write on that, because this is log for the system. Yeah, by default, that's for sure. But anyway, let's continue and we will test the writing, saving, quit without writing on a different file. Okay. But for now, I small, it will open the insert mode, which is typing anything I want, but this time at the current cursor. As you can see, if I press exit from here, currently I am on the N letter. If I press enter or press I mean, it will open here, as you can see, insert, and on the same cursor. Okay. If I press exit or escape, it will escape from the insert mode. Now the same thing with the I capital, which is shift I. Shift I, it will create or insert mode, but this time at the beginning of the current line. So the cursor was here. It will insert or open the insert mode on the same or on the beginning of the line, as you can see. Press escape again, press escape button, and yeah. Now we have the A append. I means insert, either insert at the current cursor or insert at the beginning of line. A will append after the current cursor, as you can see, which is D. If I press exit again, currently I am on D. If I press A, it will append and after the D letter, which is where I am. Okay. But if I press shift A, okay, it will give me A capital. It will append after the line. Okay. Actually, it is simple, right? I insert at the current cursor, or shift I, which is at the beginning of line. A to append on the current cursor, or shift A to append after the end of line. Or on the other hand, it will create an empty line for you, as you can see. Yeah, empty line, and you can put whatever you want here. Okay, so empty line after the current cursor. So if I am here, for example, if I press O, it will create a new empty line as well. All right. Now to save that, actually, we will use the shift here, which is shift with semicolon, which is the colon, colon with Q to quit without saving, W to write or save. Okay. WQ, which is save and quit. Okay. Now, X, by the way, it will work as WQ as well. Okay. Now, if I want to quit, for example, like this, but you can see that no, you can't, because you already modified the date. or already modified the file. So shift with, or like the colon Q. By the way, you can see that I am writing here. Did you see that? Yeah, which is colon Q, and now shift 1, which is the exclamation mark. So you can see that now let's quit without saving. Okay, the same thing for quit and with Q, the same thing for write. Okay, but write, it will not work, because if I type here, you can see that you can't open the file for writing because this needs a root permission. But so let's quit, but without saving. All right, like this. Yeah, worked 100%. Now let's open it again. Now you can see that I am currently on the line 17, 16, 14, 10, whatever. Okay, what if I want to go to line 100? So you type this and you put 100. Okay, so you can see now currently I am on the 100, or on the line number 100. If I go here 120, yeah, you can see currently I am on 120. Okay, now what if I want to go to the end of the line, or end of the file? I will use shift, and with the shift I will use the colon, as you can see here, and shift 4, which is the $sign. This will go to the end of the file, as you can see. Now actually this is the same thing. If I want to use GG, it will go to the first of line. Shift G, it will go to the end of line. Okay, so it's up to you what you prefer. GG, first of line. Shift G, it will go to the end of line. Okay, or end of file. GG, the first of file. Shift G, it will be the end of file. Okay, now if I want to enable the numbering here, you can put this, the colon, set NU, which is number. You can see that currently I have a numbers here. Oh, so nice. Now set. So if I type no number this time, or no new, which is, it will give me no number. So set number, it will give me number. Set no number, it will remove the number. Okay, now it's time for the copying. So if I press exit now, yeah. Now I want to copy, for example, this line and this line, or some of this line. What you will use? We'll use V, which means visual copying. So you can see now after that, you do that, you start moving the arrow, whatever you want. I want for that. Now I have copy, paste, or the cut, paste. Okay, so for the copy, we will use Y. Yeah, you can see Y, it worked 100%. 5 lines yanked. Y stands for yank. So why it is named yank, I don't know actually, but anyway. So now press P, which means paste. You can see that, yeah, it pasted correctly. But you can see that because I am currently, so let's go to the end of line, actually end of file, and let's open this and press this, press exit. Now press P again. You can see now, yeah, it has been pasted completely. Now again, if I press V and do whatever I want, I can use D this time, which is cut. So you can see it has been cut. And if I press P, it will paste again. So copy and paste, cut and paste. Now what if I want, I don't need to use the visual, I want to copy a complete line and paste it. Use YY. You can see that now it has been, let's use on this one actually, YY, and just paste it here. You can see if this worked. Yeah, it worked 100%. Now what if I want to undo the change I done by using the U command, or U button, I mean. U. Keep pressing U until you reach what you want. Now finally, what if I want to search this file? I will use the slash, as you can see, and put the value you want. For example, I want December, but you can see that it must be in case sensitive actually. Press enter. Now you can see that currently, yeah, it worked, and it is aiming on the first one. So if I keep pressing N, it will be next. Shift N, which is the N capital, it will previous, and so on. Okay. Now what if I want to, for example, if I press enter or N a lot of time. Now actually Vim is not about these only, but these are the most important ones actually, and these you will use them in your daily life. But it has the replacement, it has to run a command, to run something. Okay, it has a lot of features actually. You can read more about it, but for now I give you the most important ones, and the ones that you will use in your daily life as DevOps or developer. Okay, thanks for watching. Now it's time to talk about copying, moving, renaming files. Okay, now actually to create a file, we already learned using the touch command to create a text file. So t.text, or let's name it t2.text. Okay, And here you can see that we have T2 and we have T1 or T. Now, to copy a file, we will use the copy command, which is CP, name of the copy or source, which is this one, and the destination. And we will name it this time T3, okay? So this will copy the file. So if I cat T3 now, you can see that this is the T3, all right? Now, this is for copy. Now, the same thing for moving, which is using, or the cut, okay, in Windows. Now, it will be MV, which is move. So T3.text, it will be T5.text, for example. You can see that we moved the T3 and it from here, and we put it as a T5. By the way, this is the renaming as well in Linux. So in Windows, we can right click rename or rename it, okay, or move it to cut it, by the way. But this time, move T3 to T5 in the same directory, which means renaming the file. So we rename the file to something else, okay? Now, the copy cannot do that, the copy, because it will create a copy from it. So it will not be renamed, the original, I mean, okay? So this is copy and this is move. And to delete a file, we already learned that, which is rm-rf or rm-f, and do the file, which is T5, for example, the text. And oh, by the way, we can use the wildcard. So you can see that we have T1, T2, T5. Now, if I type it like this, so it will remove everything start with T. But be wary here, be careful, man, because you can see that if you have directories start with T, it will be removed as well, because I'm using rm-rf. Okay, so be careful here. Don't use wildcard randomly like that. Okay, so let's remove that ls without a dash, actually. Yeah, you can see T, all the T's have been deleted. Okay, thanks for watching. Alright, now it is time to talk about redirection and the things. Now, I'm assuming that you already watched the theory part about file description, some commands or whatever. Okay, so we will start with the redirection first. So as you can see, if I type ls or ls-l, you can see that I have this specific output. Okay, now what if I want this output to be inside a text file? So actually I will type ls-l, which is the command. I will use the greater than here, the redirection. Okay, sorry about this. And then I will provide to a specific file, and I will name it file.txt. Now, if I type ls, you can see that file.txt is here. Let's cat it, file.s. You can see inside it, we have a text of the output of these, as you can see. All right, so far so good. Now, if I want to sort this file, I will use the command called sort file.txt. Okay, so as you can see now, it has been sorted. Okay, now with specific criteria, whatever. Okay, now I'm not talking about the criteria of sorting or the mechanism. I'm talking about the command. And now if I want to provide an input for this, by the way, the greater than here, which means the output of this file, put it inside this file. Okay, so the output of this will be redirected to this file. Okay, this is the greater than. Now the less than, this means that the input for this command, I need it to be taken from this file. So if I type sort, but this time I didn't provide the file.txt, I provide the less than and put file.txt. Okay, this means that for the input of this command, sort command, take the input from file.txt. If I type here, you can see that it gives me the same value or the same result, as you can see. So everything is working as expected. Now, what if I want to put or append value to this file.txt? So for example, I type ls-l for the temp, for example. All right, so I will list all the temp directory content, and I want it not to be overwritten over the file.txt. I want it to be appended on the file.txt like this. Okay, now if I clear the screen first and cat file.txt, you can see that now, yeah, we have, and now this is the part for the first one. This is the second part of the second one, which is the temp directory. All right, so far so good. Now, what if I want to put a specific command? Now, for example, I type ls, let's see here, you can see that we don't have t.text here, right? So if I type ls t.text, okay, sorry about this, yeah, as you can see, no such file or directory. Now what if I don't want for this to be shown? How should I do that? I will do this, which is the lst.text, and then I will choose this thing, which is 2 on /dev/null. And you can see this time, after I list this file, the same message, no such file or directory, is not written or is not printed. Why? Because the 2, which means the standard error, will be now redirected to div null. And by the way, div null is a device for the null values, which means it's like the recycle bin in Windows, by the way. Okay, somehow, let's say somehow it is like the recycle bin in Windows, somehow, let's say. Okay, all right, now enough with this. You have an idea now what is redirection, how to use it, and I will see you in the next lecture. All right, now it's time to talk about comparing between files. So if I type ls, I have file.txt and I have file2.txt. So the file.txt, inside it, sorry about this, inside it I have this total 1500 whatever, blah blah blah, and total 44 and whatever. Okay, now for the file2, actually it is the same, but it is the first part, which is total 1000 until we reach total 44. Okay, total 44. So far so good. Now actually, for comparing the files, we have 3 commands. We have diff, which is like this, diff. We have sdiff, which is side by side, and we have the vimdiff. Okay, we will handle all of that. Okay, now let's start with the diff. So actually the diff, putting the first file, which is text, and file2, which is file2.txt. So you can see that it will start showing that here on this file, which is as you can see on the left, which means this file, it has the following, right, and not existed on the file on the right, which is file2, as you can see. All right, which means that it found that file1 or file.txt, as you can see, if I open vim, you can see that file1 has the following that file2 doesn't have it. Yeah, and we already saw that. So if I open file2, actually, you can see that file2 only has these ones, okay, which is the first part. All right, now actually let's have a comparison between or let's not comparison, I mean let's have, or let's edit this. Actually, let's put this as a D here this time, and here you can see that I make it as a D. Okay, and now let's run the command again, and actually what we edit on the file2. So if I open this and make a comparison, so you can see that this time not just this part, which is this part on the left file, which is file, it has the following line. Okay, but on the right, as you can see on the right file, we have the following file or the following content, which is, as you can see, D and slash here, or dash, I mean. Okay, so as actually it's run as expected. All right, now let's use the sdiff this time. So again, file.txt and file2.txt. So you can see that this time it is side by side, which is something more readable actually. So you can see that on the left we have this, but on the right you can see that we have a pipe symbol here. We can see a vertical pipe, which is D here, but this means that here is a dash, which means that this line between the two files, by the way, the one on the right, which is the file2, the one on the left, which is file.txt. It is simple, no big deal. Okay, and you can see that we have the following. All right, now let's this time use vimdiff, and again the same thing, file2.txt, and open it. You can see now vimdiff, actually it is better and it is more visual, and actually I prefer vimdiff, by the way, but it's okay, it's up to you what you prefer. So you can see that it highlights the text, which is this line that we edited, which, as you can see, not just this line, it highlights the D letter, which is something what is different between this line and this line on the file 1 and the file 2. Okay, and by the way, we have this line is missing, and all of that is not is existed on this on the right, I mean. Okay, so which means it is work as expected and something human readable, and it is user friendly, by the way. Okay, thanks for watching. All right, now it's time to copy files or move files over the network. Okay, so for example, I have this file here, so let's create it. File over network, for example, anything, it doesn't matter. Okay, now let's echo or put this inside it. Whoa, file, anything, using the redirection, file over the network, and let's cat it to check if it is, yeah, it accepted it, yeah. So this file over network.txt has a file, and I want to send it to a specific server that I have access on. I have SSH key connected, whatever. Okay, so for that I will use the scp command. All right, so by the way, I have this file here, or I have this server, I have access on it, so over the SSH, I mean. So scp actually, which means secure copy. Okay, and this command used, or you under the hood, it used SSH RSA keys. Okay, so the first thing, scp actually it works exactly like the copy command. So source to destination. Okay, so the source, it will be just follow me for now. The source, it will be file over the network. By the way, it works from source to destination, which means that you can copy files from here, by the way. So you can copy, for example, remoting.jar from here, from this server, remote server, to your local machine by providing the path here and providing the destination as your computer or as your location on your computer. But how to do that? Don't worry, follow me for now. So scp file over network.txt. This is the source, which is the file that I have locally. Then the destination, it will be the remote user, which is in my case Ubuntu. As you can see, I am providing the user on that remote machine and I will provide the IP address of it. By the way, I have it as a private server. Yeah, you can see that this is the user I have here. I have access on, which is Ubuntu, which is the IP address of that server. Then I will put the colon here. Okay, the colon here means that this is the server. Now inside this server, what is the path? Which is /home/Ubuntu. How did I know that? It's no big deal. Just type bound here. You can see that home Ubuntu. So I want this file, which is the file over the network, to be copied there. So Ubuntu at this home Ubuntu / so which means that this file will be copied there. All right, so far so good. By the way, don't forget the /. If you didn't specify the /, this file will be renamed Ubuntu and it will be on the home directory. So the / here is very crucial. So / means that it is inside the home, inside the Ubuntu directory. Then we will have this file the same name as here. But if I provide a new name _name.txt, this time it will be copied there as this name, which is the new name.txt. Okay, so let's have that. By the way, this is the same thing for the copy. If you want to change the name, we already saw that, by the way, but we didn't mention the / thing, because the / thing is very important and very crucial. So if I type the name of the file, it will be copied and renamed with the new name. But if I didn't provide the name, which means only this, like this will be copied as is, and the default name will be the original name, which is file over the network. But let's put new name.txt. Okay, all right, now let's press enter. By the way, it will not work like this. You know why? Because we forgot to provide something. By the way, because I am using a key-based authentication here, not a password-based, which means it will not ask me for a password. I need to provide the -i option, which is the identifier, for example. And here I need to provide the SSH key or the private SSH key, so I can send the file. Or, well, actually, I'm assuming that you are familiar with the SSH, the RSA behavior. Anyway, so I have it here actually. Now you can see that it has been moved or copied, I mean, over the network completely with or under a secure tunnel, which is the SSH tunnel. By the way, I'm using again and this key. This is the PEM key or the secret private SSH key. So if I return here, if I press ls, I can see, oh, I can see it here, which is the new name. Now, if I type new name dot text, whoa, a file, which is, yeah, it moved correctly. So actually, let's copy this file. And this time, let's name it whatever file, which is on server underscore file dot text. So this is to distinguish between them. And this file, this time, let's open it by Vim and edit its content. Let's put it something else. What I'm trying to do actually is I want to copy from the server to the local host. Okay, I just want to show you how to do such a thing. By the way, if I press DD, it will delete a complete line. So this is in the server file. Okay, so let's save that and let's see. Now this time I will use the same command, but this time I want to what? Yeah, you guessed right. I want to flip them out. So Ubuntu at this whatever blah 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 and this thing. By the way, you need to change the name, and this will be considered the source, which means that the source I want it from this, which means Ubuntu at something by providing, by the way, the -i. Don't forget providing the -i. We already saw that. We don't need to go over it again. So Ubuntu at whatever the IP, this and its place is on this server. I mean, on this server with this credential, this user. Ubuntu home, Ubuntu, not a new name. This time it will be what? Which is the new name we have it here, which is, let's copy it, no big deal. Like this. And the destination, it will be my local machine, which is here. I can provide just /, which means that put this file on the current directory, which is the test. Now let's do that. Let's see if it is working. Yeah, it worked 100%. And yeah, we have it here, which is cat on server. You can see that this is in the server file. Everything worked 100%. But again, I'm assuming that you are familiar with the SSH keys, SSH key pairs, RSA keys, how to modify that, how to configure that. Okay, thanks for watching. All right, now it's time to talk about something very important, which is the alias. Well, actually, the alias, it is something. So if I type ls or man alias, you can see it doesn't have any entry. But if I type alias -- help, you can see that it is to define or display aliases. Alias, it is used to create another alias name for a command. And this is something we already mentioned when we typed the ls-l is the same as ll. You can see that ls-l, which is the same -ll, ls-la, I mean, sorry, ls-la. So let's clear the screen first, and I want to show you just, yeah, ls-la, which is the same like ll. Okay, this will print everything and in a long format. Okay, with some differences. You can see, you can notice that here is a slashes, but here we don't have slashes. Anyway, no big deal. So how to create alias? So for example, I want to clear the screen. I don't need to type clear each time clear. This doesn't make sense. How to do that? Actually, I will use alias command, which is alias, like this, as simple as that. The name of the alias, which is C in my case, equal, and then provide the command, but with a single quotation inside it. So clear. So the command clear will be considered or aliased to C letter. So if I type enter and if I type C, it will work. Oh, so if I type ls-la, whatever ll, okay, I want to clear the screen, I will use just C. Oh, so fantastic. Now, but the thing is, if I open another shell, so for example, I am inside this shell, as you can see. If I open another shell, for example, bash, if I type C this time, you can see C command not found because we didn't put it as an alias. So how to do such a thing without losing the because after we open a new shell session, everything will be removed and specific things will be exported from specific files. Don't worry, we will talk about them right away. Okay, so how to do such a thing? Well, Control D or exit to quit from the first shell. By the way, if I type echo /lvl, you can see that this is the shell level. This is an environment variable and used to print the shell levels. So 1, as you can see, it is to see. If I open another shell, so if I echo the shell level again, you can see that it is 2 this time. So which means that we have 2 shell levels, which means I am opening a bash shell inside the bash shell. Okay. All right. Let's Control D or quit or exit. I mean, let's clear the screen first. So if I type C here this time, it will work because this is the original one. So how to do such a thing? Now, actually, if you notice, ls-la, we have something called .profile or .bash rc. And by the way, the difference between .profile and .bash rc, this is used for the specific user, which is Ubuntu. As you can see, any user on Linux, it has the following, either .profile or .bash rc or the two of them. Okay, this is actually used to tell what are the commands or stuff we will do when we open the shell on a specific behavior. So for the .profile, this is used for the lognable or the login shell. But the bash rc, this is used for the interactive behaviors. Actually, if I vim.profile here, you can see that we have a lot of information. So you can see .profile executed by the command interpreter for login shells, as you can see, login shells. And the file is not read by bash here. And you can see if the .bash profile or .bash login exist, the file are located in the bash rc package, and you can see the default umask set whatever blah blah blah, and you can see the default file, which is the etc profile. This is not just for the current user, which is Ubuntu. No, this is for the whole system. By the way, I'm just giving you a brief about it. You can read more about it actually. So .bash rc on the other hand, no. So rc like this, you can see that if I have a look here, now you can see that bash rc is executed by bash for non-login shells. Okay, there for login shells, which means through SSH, but here for non-login shells, which means interactive. Now let's edit the bash rc. Actually, in my case, what we saw, which is using the bash, we want the alias to be existed. We don't need it to be removed. So from here, just inside this file. By the way, when we open a shell or when we type the bash command, it will everything here will be executed. So which means that I need to provide the alias here. So alias, as simple as that, equal single quotation and then clear. So this means that every time we open the bash command or the bash command enter, which means open a new bash shell. And by the way, we already saw it is non-login shells. This is considered to be non-login shells. So this time, which means C will be there. So if I save it for now, and let's open bash this time. By the way, you saw before I go, C, press enter. It's not found. So if I put bash and press C, you can see C is working correctly 100%. All right. And again, so let's exit from that. Let's vim the .bash rc again. Let's copy that actually, and I just want to copy it, and I just want to show you for the login shells this time. This was the behavior for the non-login shells, which means opening the bash using the terminal like this. But for the non-login shells, for the login shells, it will be like this. So .profile, again, put the command here. Be careful, don't put it inside if or else, or if you are using some filtering or whatever, put it inside, in that case, inside if or whatever. Okay, now alias C equal clear. So let's save it. All right. Now I want to quit from that actually, and from that. So you can see that currently I am on my Mus'ab machine, which is the Mac operating system. Now, if I have, actually, by the way, I have this alias. If I type it like this, alias mapper, you can see that I have it like this. This is Ubuntu at something, and this is the key I am using. All right. So let's use this alias, whatever. By the way, this alias is the same as this, okay, as this command, which is SSH into the system. No big deal. Okay, please don't get confused. Okay, I'm just using this alias on my local Mac operating system. Okay, currently I am inside this server with this IP address. Okay, let's clear the screen, or I don't need to clear the screen using the clear command. I need it using the C letter to see if it is working or not. Yeah, everything is working as expectedly. So if I open the bash.rc or .bash rc, you can see that the alias is not here. Let's quit, and now if I open the .profile, you can see the alias, yeah, it is here, which means that this is for the login shells. Okay, so hope you learned. Actually, hope you didn't get confused. Please, if you have any question or if you got confused, you can ask me, no problem. Thanks for watching. Alright, now let's talk about the environment variable. Now the environment variable, they are just a variable, but for the system. So you store the directory or the path for the Java interpreter, the compiler, GCC compiler, Python interpreter, whatever, okay? So the difference between variable and the environment variable is that the environment variable, they are for the system, not just a symbol or a normal variables, okay? So to show all the variables, we will use the command env or environment. So env, here you can see it will show us everything we have. So the shell level, the look name, path, as you can see, the sh, mail, term, whatever, okay? Now, here are some of the tips I want to mention is that the behavior of the shell you are using. So depends on that, you need to know where to define your environment variables. So for example, if you are using SSH, you need to define your environment variable in the loginable shell path. So like the profile. So either the dot profile, the place dot profile, so cat dot profile in the directory of the user, the home directory of the user, which is Ubuntu, like this. As you can see here, you need, as you can see, if you read, you can see executed by command interpreter for login shells. So these are loginable shells or the login shells, okay? So that's for a specific user. So you created user, called it test, and you created this file. So all the environment variable you defined here, by the way, defining environment variable is no big deal. I will show you right away, don't worry. Okay, so if you defined a environment variable here in the test.profile file, only this test user will have this environment variable, not the whole system. But for the whole system, you will use the path etc profile. Okay, so using any text editor, vim etc profile, and here this is the profile file for the login shells for the whole system. Yeah, as you can see, it is a system-wide, okay, .profile file for the burn shell, okay? So actually, this is for the bash, not for all shells. So if you are using Z shell, it will be something else, etc profile.d, whatever, okay, or etc zsh profile, okay? So it depends on the shell you are using or the default shell you are using. So if it is a bash shell, now this is the case you need, etc profile, okay? Now sometimes it is etc environment, so slash like this, etc environment like this, and here you put the environment variables like you want. As you can see, this is some examples. The name of the environment variable, and it is capital, equal, and in double quotation put the value you want. So it is a key value pair, no big deal, okay? And after you add the thing you want, either you can quit from the shell and open it again, or using this command, which is the source command, etc environment or etc profile or .profile file, the path to the file you have entered or typed your environment variable. So source this like this, and it will be here. So for example, let's put anything just arbitrary in the environment. For example, x1. Yeah, by the way, I forgot to open it as a sudo because it is read only. So sudo like this, like we learned. And here, don't worry about the vim, we will talk about it. So x1 equal test, for example, okay? So let's quit from here. And if I type source, the etc environment, and if I type env, it is not found. Maybe I need to run the sudo command, okay? Okay, sometimes this happens because they are using the POSIX or something like that. Anyway, we can use the dot command, okay? And by the way, dot not found. Okay, so we can use the sudo dash and then quit from it. And if I type env this time again, you can see that x1 is found now, okay? So x1 equal test. And why this happened? Because we quit from the shell and we open it again, okay? So no big deal, which is the bash shell, I mean, all right? Now, again, maybe why this didn't work using the source command, actually, because actually this is something for the whole system and you are using the Ubuntu user, which is something not very powerful. as the root. So if you type it on your .profile, depends on the user you want, you will find it there and it will work 100%. All right. Thanks for watching. All right. Now it's time to talk about the processes and the jobs, either background or foreground jobs. Okay. Now, to see all the processes, actually we are using the first thing, the BS command. So you can see the BS command, it will show me some commands that are running, the PID, the TTI that are used. By the way, this is the teletyper, the PTS. You can read more about it. Actually, I recommend you to read about it. But actually, this is something theory. It will not make a difference for you, to be honest. But it is good to have what is TTY, or how a small brief history about the TTY, PTS, something like that. Okay, this is the time, the CMD that is used. Now we have other options, which is -E, which is everything. So if I press it like that, you can see it will start showing every command I have on the whole system. Okay, the PID, this is the TTY that are being used, the time, the CMD as well. Now if you want to see a full information, which is -F, -EF, which means full information, the user, the PID, let's have a look here. Yeah, the PPID, which is the parent PID. So here is C time, the TTY, time, CMD. Okay, whatever. Okay, now if I want to see information about a specific user, so what are the processes for a specific user? So you can see that here for this, which is the www data. Here the Ubuntu, here is the root, here is the mapper, whatever. Now what if I want to see everything for Ubuntu? So I can just provide the -U option. By the way, it's very simple. Ubuntu, which is the name of the user, and press enter. Okay, so you can see that Ubuntu user has only the following processes. Okay, and if I see for root, for example, it will show me as well. Everything here is for root. If I type -U and if I type -F here, you can see it will show for root only and for as a full information. Okay, the PID, PPID, TTY, name, the last, the command, whatever. Okay, all right. Now in Windows we have something called Task Manager to see the task, kill, remove, or actually it has a lot of features, monitor, whatever. Now in this in Linux we have something called top or htop. Top, actually it show you, as you can see here, is the task, the number of processes, the memory, whatever. And actually I don't prefer top that much. I prefer htop actually, because on the other hand htop is more elegant. So you can see htop is more elegant, give you information about the memory, resources, average, load average. You can see that load average, and the tasks, and how much RAM I have on this server, full, the CPU utilization, and so on. And by the way, the command, the user, the PID, everything is here actually, as you can see, which is something very powerful. All right, so far so good. Now enough with the processes. Let's talk about how to run a specific command in the background. So actually I have this command, for example, tail-f, and if I run it, it will still binding on the prompt. Okay, so I cannot put anything here. So you can see that. As you can see, I cannot put any command now from now on. So how? Now this is just an example, by the way. We don't use tail-f in that way, by the way. But for example, you have a specific bash script that's running and binding on the standard output, like this. So in that case, it's better to run it in the background, which is like this. So tail, which is our example, -f, and shift-7, which means the %, like that. This means that this command will be running in the background. Press enter. Yeah, cool. Now we have it here. So by the way, you can see that we have two numbers, which is this one in the square brackets and this one. By the way, this one is the PID for this thing. So if I type BS-E and let's use the grep with the pipeline, it's a good practice to see that actually. So 15296. And let's see, yeah, it is here. This it is. And you can see that it is the tail, which is the tail command. Okay, cool. Now what if I want to stop this command actually, or want to kill it? I don't need it anymore. How to do such a thing? Well, actually we have two ways, either using the kill command, or we can use the BG or the FG, then Control C to interrupt. So Control C, as you can see, to interrupt, Control D to exit, but don't exit, it will exit from the shell. Don't worry, be careful. And Control Z, it will be stop specific process or suspend it, by the way. All right. Now let's start with the kill. So kill, and then provide dash, then provide the number of the signal. And how to know the number of the signal? For now, press kill dash L. And here you can see that we have all the signals we have: sig hub, sig term, count, interrupt, kill, term, whatever. Okay. Actually, the most important ones is the one, which is sig hub, which means that wait until the process complete its work, then kill it, which means hang up first. Then we have the sig kill, whatever it is, here, which is 9, and we have the sig term, which is 15. Okay, these are the most important one, but these are not just these few. We have a sig trap, we have sig IO, we have a lot of things actually. I recommend you to read more about it if you are interested. But in my case, I will use sig -9 and then provide the PID. And by the way, the PID, I will just copy and paste it like this, or the name of the process, which is tail in my case. But it is better or a good practice to have it as a PID, not as a name. So here, as you can see, now if I put the grep command again, which is this one, you can see that it is now killed. As you can see, previously it was stopped because it is running in the background. It was stopped. I'm here, but here is killed. So if I type the command again, you can see that it is not existed anymore. So it wait for it, then it will kill. It killed it. All right. So far, so good. Okay. Now let's run this command again. Tail-f underscore or the ampersand. Let's check it, which is the bs-e grep, and put the PID. Yeah, you can see it is here and stopped. So this time, if I kill it, -15, and put the PID, and let's have a PS grep, you can see that it is here. It is waiting. So if I wait a little bit, and if I run this command, you can see that it didn't kill it immediately. So here, -9, which means forcefully kill, but the 15 term. So actually this is used sometimes with some software or programs. So you can see, yeah, it is still here. So again, let's kill it using -9, or actually we need it. We want to learn the other things. Now, again, we already saw what is this number, which is the PID. But what is this? This is the number for the job, which means that we have this as a second job or the index. So if I type the command jobs, it will print all the jobs I have. By the way, I have already this one. So this is the second one. As you can see, the number of job, which is 2, and it is stopped, and tail-f, okay? Which is the command. Now, if I use the BG and the number of the job, this means that this job will go to the background. So you can see that now if I type jobs, you can see that it is terminated because we already sent the signal, which is sig term. By the way, you remember when we type where it is, yeah, here, kill-15, we killed it on using the signal sig term. Now, if I want to go it, so by the way, if I type jobs again, you can see that now it is removed, by the way. Yeah, because we terminated. Okay, now if I go to FG, this time I will not use BG, FG1, you can see that this means that foreground. BG means background, FG and the number of the job, which is this one, it will go foreground. This means that it will be showing here. So if I type Ctrl C, it will interrupt and it will kill this process. But if I type Ctrl Z, by the way, we already saw the Ctrl C, but if I type Ctrl Z, it will suspend it. Suspend it means that if I have the jobs, again, jobs command, you can see it is stopped. So BG1 and then jobs again, you can see that, yeah, it is here, but it is stopped currently. We don't have it. So if I go again inside it, FG and then the one, and if I click Ctrl C, it will be killed. I guess, let's see, yeah, it will be killed. All right. Thanks for watching. Now it's time to talk about something very important, which is the cron jobs. Okay. Now for that, we will use the cron tab command. Now the cron jobs, briefly, they are just jobs that run on a specific schedule. So every 1 month, every two month, every 1 day, every 1 hour, once in the week, and so on. Okay. Okay. Now for that, I will use the cron tab. So we have the cron tab. So if I have the manual for it, so manual like this. So you can see maintain cron tab files for individual users, and you can see. Now we have the cron tab -L, which means that list all the cron jobs for this current user, which is Ubuntu. As you can see, no cron job for Ubuntu. And by the way, if I provide the name of the user, for example, root, it will print for it. Yeah, sorry about this. I forgot to put -U here. I mean, you can see you must be a privilege to use -U. So you can see you can't put or use or show the cron tabs. So if I type sudo here, you can see that for root as well, no cron tab. Okay, cool. So far, so good. Now, cron tab -E this time, -L to list, -U to see and list the cron jobs for this specific user, -E to edit for the current user, which is Ubuntu. If I type -E space -U, this will give you for a specific user. Now here you can see that we have the select the editor you want. Just select whatever you want. Actually, I will use Vim basic, whatever. And you can see that this is the format for this file. And again, I'm assuming that you already read the theory part because everything is there. So I will not handle the format over and over. And by the way, there is this website, which is the cron tab guru. Actually, I prefer it. So here you can see that it has a lot of things, a lot of values. So how to put your cron tab values. And by the way, there is examples there, which is something very cool. So you can see every 1 minute, every 30 minutes, every Friday, every day at 8 a.m. for example. You can see that here it is. So for now, I will use every minute. Okay, every minute, which means star, everything. Okay. So this means that every minute, all right? So here I will use this thing and then provide the command. Sometimes if you don't need that, you can just provide the schedule, then provide the user, then provide the command, okay? So it will work, by the way. If you are writing a cron jobs or a cron files, okay? You can just provide the user you want to be executed, okay? But I don't need, I will use ls here. And I will save, okay? So you can see that cron tab installing a new cron tab. So if I type cron tab -L, you can see that, yeah, we have it. By the way, it print everything inside the file. And I have the every minute ls, okay? Well, actually, this is just an arbitrary example, all right? Now, actually, the output of this can be using the redirection. Yeah, we already learned that. But also, by default, it go to the, sorry, let's have a tail actually, -F. It goes to the var log syslog here. Okay, so you can see that cron info, no MTA installed or whatever. So if I wait a little bit, it will show that every minute it will run this command. Let's wait a little bit actually. Oh, cool. So you can see that, yeah, it worked correctly. So here, which is on 11:55, this is the ls command, which is, as you can see, the command for this cron. Another minute, the ls command has been executed, and for this cron, okay? So everything is working as expected. So let's Control C from it. So I will interrupt it. We already learned that. Now let's clear the screen, and I want for this cron tab to be deleted. How to delete all the cron tabs I have? Actually, I can use the -E, by the way, to edit the cron tab. And then I can delete this thing or this cron job. Or if you have, for example, 100 and you don't need any one of them, so you can just do cron tab -R. This to remove all of the cron tabs or cron jobs I have. So now, after that, cron tab -L to see. Yeah, you can see no cron tab for Ubuntu, which means it worked 100%. By the way, you can edit that and you can delete a lot of lines using the Vim, by the way, because Vim is very powerful. Anyway, thanks for watching. Now it's time to talk about the history. So you can see that I am typing ls-l, whatever rm. So you want to see the history of the system. Now for that, I will use command called history. As simple as that. So history, like this. So you can see that I can see all the history of the system. You can see that I have 684 history, okay, command. So clear, man, sudo, cron tab, whatever, okay, everything is here recorded. Now how actually, where is this file that has all the this actually, this is not on the history. The history is just to read the history file, the actual history file. So the history file actually for each user, if you type ls-la, you can see that we have .history. Where it is? Yeah, here it is. .history, sometimes it is called .history, sometimes it's called .bash history. So you can see that here it is. So if I vim it or tail it, the .bash history, you can see that we have it here. So by the way, I'm using tail, which is the last 10. So if I open it using list, for example, so let's see, yeah, you can see that all of the commands is here. So you can see that all of the commands, but how much it can take this file. Actually, I got you. This is inside the .bash rc file. Okay, sorry about this. I opened the wrong file. Yeah, you can see that if you scroll down, you will see this for setting history length, see the hi or the history size and the history file size in bash. So you can see the hist file or the hist size. This is for the size, how much history I will gonna record, which means 1000 line, for example, and the hist files, as you can see, 2000, which means 2000 byte or 2000 kilobyte. Well, actually, I'm not sure because some of them for the byte and some of them for the kilobyte. It depends actually. Okay, so sometimes actually it's better to remove the bash history files or delete it regularly. Sometimes, not all the times. If you are as a root user or as a powerful user, so no one can see what you are doing or no one can use the credential inside that command. So for example, you are doing something and you are putting the environment variable values, the password, the URLs for the database, the credential for the for example, AWS IAM access ID or key access secret ID, whatever. So everything here will be on the console, sorry, on the terminal, will be recorded on the bash. So it's better to remove it from the history or sometimes to disable the history at all. Sometimes, well, it depends on the situation. Thanks for watching. Alright, now it's time to talk about something very important, which is the sudo su command, okay, or the sudo wars file. Now, what is sudo? So if I type man sudo like this, you can see that we will get the execute a command as another user. Okay, so here if you have the description, it allows a permitted user to execute a command as the super user or another user. And the most cases is for the super user, which is the root command, by the way, the root user, I mean. And you can see that here is security policies, sudoer, a lot of options for the sudo, and so on. You can read more if you are interested. But I want to show you the most important things. Now, I am the Ubuntu user. And by the way, I am using that on AWS cloud. So by default, the Ubuntu user or the Ubuntu machine, it has the Ubuntu user, and this user is a power user, which means using the sudo, it will not ask you any question. It will not ask you or prompt you for password. So you can just type sudo ls and you can see everything is here as a sudo. All right. Now this is by default, by the way. So that's why it's better to have another user, not the Ubuntu, the default user, because this is a very dangerous user. This is anyone type sudo or anyone has access on Ubuntu can type sudo and it has the privilege of root, which is something very dangerous. Okay, so for now, let's use the su command. The su command, actually, if I type man su, you can see that this is to change user ID or become a super user, which means if I type su and then type root, you can see that I will go to the root user, but it will ask for a password. The password for the Ubuntu user, by the way, and after I type it to see if I am authorized or not. But actually I don't have password. I will type Control D here or Control C, Control Z. So let's clear the screen. So I will not use su on itself. I will use sudo su, okay, dash, or without dash for now. So sudo su, it will let this user su go to this specific user by default. If I didn't provide any user, it will be root by default, okay? So I want to go to the root user and using the sudo permission. So if I type it like this, you can see that this time I am the root user. And again, by the way, they didn't prompt me any password or something, because this is in AWS for Ubuntu machines or AMIs, they called it. It is the Ubuntu here, it is the power user, okay? So this is the root. Okay, Control D to exit from the shell, which is the root shell. Okay, now let's return to the Ubuntu. Now, if you notice, after I go to the sudo su, the root user, I still in the home directory of Ubuntu. And we still have the environment variable of Ubuntu. Now, I don't need that. I need to go sudo su, I need to go to the root user, and I need to go to the home directory for root, as well as I want to import the environment variable or export the environment variable of root. So I will use the dash. Actually, it means two things. Go to the home directory of this user you are going to, which is in my case root, and export all the environment variable for this user, which is in my case root, because by default, if I didn't provide any user, it will be root. So press enter. So you can see currently I am root. If I type baud /root, which means the home directory of the root, and it worked 100%. So far so good. All right. Now let's have a look on the sudoer file. So if I vim etc sudoers, you can see that we have this file here. You can see that we have sudoers or sudoers.d. So if you want to edit the sudoers file, it's better to have it on the sudoers.d. This is the best practice, by the way. But anyway, we are just viewing only as a read only. We don't need to change anything on the sudoers. So let's have a look here. You can see that, yeah, permission denied. Why is that? Because this file actually is protected by root. Only root can do that. Imagine if anyone in the system, any user in the system can edit that. So we are fucked up, but by the way, sorry about the language. Okay, so if I type sudo shift1, which is the exclamation mark. Now I will use this to run the previous command, which is this one, as a root. And by the way, you can see it is still read only. But because I am the root, I can edit it. It's okay, because I am the king right now. All right. Now you can see that this is the format, the default environment, default mail, whatever, secure path for the default behavior. These are environment variable, by the way, or variables, let's say. So you can see that here is the privilege we want. So for the root user, we have all equal, all, and the all. Now what are all of these alls? Okay, now all, which means the terminal, or the terminal I am opening in on, or the console. If you are interested, you can read more about it. But what is most important, which is all, which means all user. So run this as all user and run this as all user. And here, all, which means all commands. So root user can run everything as everyone and for every command, okay? And this is the same thing for the admin groups. But by the way, you can see that there is a % symbol here, okay, shift 5. So this means that the admin group, any member inside it, will be able to run all, the same thing. Now this is the same thing for the sudo, by the way. So you can see that here is a %. So this is a sudo group. By the way, we already saw that. Let's quit from this for now. If I type ID or groups, whatever, you can see that the groups that Ubuntu inside it, one of them is sudo. We already saw that. So let's again open the sudoers file. So you can see that for the sudo group, it is all, and all. But you can see that we have this argument, which is no pass width. Anyone inside the sudo group will be able to run all the commands as all user or as all group from all terminals or TTYs or BTS, whatever, without prompting any password. Okay. All right. And actually, it's better to edit this file not using vim. Actually, we have the sudo command. Okay, so sudo, and actually it requires you to, as you can see, yeah, permission denied. It requires you to be a sudo, and we already mentioned that. We don't need to talk about it anymore. why it needs the permission. Okay, so here you can see that we are using, by the way, nano. I don't know why, because this is what they prefer anyway, but it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's up to you what you prefer. Okay, so here you can see that I can edit anything I want, but by the way, if you can notice here, the name of the file is sudowars.temp, which means that this is to safely secure your file. So by the way, if you, for example, so you can see, yeah, etc sudowars.temp and change, so no change has been made. So by the way, if you open the sudowars and if you fucked up here, actually you put some mistake or something, actually the whole system will be down, or the whole system cannot use sudo anymore. So for example, if you don't have an explicit access to the root user, then you are done actually. Unless you have the physical access on the server, then you will go inside it as a single mode, which means as a root mode, then edit the file, which is the root file, etc sudowars file, then return it to its original, or modify the mistake that you done until everything is returned back, because actually you are using them immediately. But if you are using visudo, which is this command here, even if I typed like this, so imagine with me, so yeah, for example, let's put any arbitrary value. By the way, this is mistake, yeah, so let's save that. And actually this is bad, you can see that I'm just putting anything, but I'm using the visudo. So visudo, it will not fuck you up, so you will see why. Press enter, you can see that, yeah, it show me etc sudowars syntax error near line 21. Okay, so what now? So press enter, for example, so you can see that the options are either edit sudowars file again, or exit without saving change to sudowar, or quit and save changes to sudowar file. And this is danger. Now actually this is not just danger, this is stupid. So if you do that, quit and save the change, even though you got a warning that there is a syntax error on the sudowar file, then maybe you are stupid, sorry for that, or it is for mistake. And if it is mistake, you are forgiven, it's okay, no problem. But actually I want to E, which means edit sudowars file again, or exit without saving. So E, so you can see here, I can, oh yeah, which is this line, and I want to delete it, just delete everything. Yeah, let's click that, and yes, let's save this and see, oh, we didn't get any problem. So you can see that no errors shown here, all right? So everything is work fine, which means there is no mistake. But if I edit, so you can see if I edit the etc sudowars file immediately like this, if I put the mistake here, you can see that, yeah, you can see that it is read only, but because I am the root, I can edit it immediately. So you can see if I save that, the whole system cannot use sudo anymore. Why is that? Because there is a syntax error actually in the sudowar file. So anyone try to use sudo with something, it will not be working at all. So unless the solution for that, unless you have physical access to the server, which means to open it as a single mode. So if you are using the cloud, you are done actually, no return back. Well, actually it's not like that. You can just deattach the volume, reattach it again, or change the files there and then reattach it. There is a work for that, a work around it. There is a solution for that, but it is headache and a lot of work to do, and you already have enough work to do actually. And the other solution, if you have an explicit access to the root user, in that case you can just as such to the system as a root user and then change whatever, because you are the root user, which means you can do whatever in the system and then change the necessary. By the way, the root user, yeah, it is the king on the system and can do whatever it wants, but by the way, I can change its privilege, so I can make it less powerful, by the way. And we will not handle that. You can read about it. We will not handle that in this lecture. All right. Thanks for watching. All right. Now it's time to talk about user and groups management. So actually for that, we will use this command. So we have the add user command and we have the user add command. But by the way, I prefer add user. Now why is that? Actually they are the same, but under the hood, add user command use the under user command, because the under user command is something within the system, by the way. You can read more about them, what is the difference. But for now, let's use add user because it is much faster and easier. Because add user, I will add the test user, for example. So you can see only the root can do that. So let's sudo shift1 like that. And yeah, what is the password? 123123. Anything 123123. By the way, full name, number, other. As this correct? Yes. Or press enter because you can see that the Y is capital, which means this is the default behavior. So yeah. So now I have the user test. Now using user mode, it is the same, by the way, but you will not provide the home directory. As you can see, add user create a home directory for you. And actually add user, by the way, you can add this user to another group using the same command. Just typing the same command, which is sudo add user, and name of the group, which is, in my case, I will put it inside the sudo group. So it can enable or it can execute root commands as a root privilege. But for now, I will not put it until I show you this something. So I will use the sudo su test, okay? And we already saw that, by the way. So here we go inside the sudo test. Again, let's use the dash option, by the way, or the dash here. So you can see that, yeah, we are inside the test user this time. As you can see, this time it is test here. So if I type sudo ls, it will ask me for password for sure. But if I press enter, you can see test is not in the sudoers file. This incident will be reported, okay? So how to do such a thing? Because the test user is not inside the sudoers or the sudo group, by the way. So if I type id, you can see the groups is only test. Or if I type the groups of command, which is test only. So I will control D or exit to log out or exit from the shell for the test user. And then if you cat the etc group, this is where all of the groups in the system, you can see that we have the root and the GID, which is the group identifier is 0, which means anything with this 0, which means it has the root privilege. So if you can edit the group, by the way, it is readable only for everyone, but no one can modify it, only the root. So if you modify the GID for you, if I scroll down, so for example, the test, it has this ID or GID. Okay, this is for the group. So if I modify this, it will, as a 0, it will give me as a root privilege. But this is not the best practice to do that. So if I cat something else or another file, which is something called the etc password, and here inside it, you can see that, yeah, we have it here. So you can see that it has a lot of information, the name of the user, X. Now, what is this X? Which means that we have the password for this user inside another file called etc shadow. We will see right away. Don't worry. This is the UID, the user identifier. This is the GID, the group identifier. And by the way, we already saw that in the etc groups. And here are some of the information values you can put. And here is the home directory for the test user. And here is the bash or the default bash for it, which is bin bash. Okay, so sometimes we can put bin false or bin or user as bin no login, as you can see. Sometimes if we don't need to be for that user to have a shell, like for example the sys here or the bin here, you can see no login shells. All right. Now finally, let's have another look on or a look on the shadow file. But you can see permission denied because this shadow file, it has the hashed password for all of the users. So X means that the password for the test user is hashed and stored inside the etc shadow. So if I open it, yeah, you can see that the test user, which is this one, it has this password or this hash password. Okay, and you can see that it has a lot of information, a lot of values, whatever. Okay, so actually this is the hash for 123123. You already saw the password. This is something very simple. By the way, if I go again to the etc password file here like this, you can see if I edit this one or this one to 0, okay, or the two of them to 0, which means that this is the root user. Let's scroll up a little bit. Yeah, here it is. So you can see that this is the root user and it has a password and it is hashed there. And 00, which means this user ID and GID is 0. This is the root user. So the root user is not just a root user. Why it is a very powerful and root? Actually, not because it is called root, by the way, because it has the 0 UID and GID. All right? Good to know that. Now, I want for the test user to be added to another thing, okay? So if you click or cat etc groups, by the way, okay, you can see that for the Ubuntu user, here it is. For the test user, oh, sorry, the group. But if I scroll up a little bit, you can see that we will have the sudo. Where it is? Yeah, here it is. You can see that this is the sudo group, and it has inside it the Ubuntu user and Mapper user. Now we want to add actually the test user inside the sudo user, the sudo group. I mean, test user inside the sudo group to perform a sudo commands using the sudoers file that we already learned. So add user, as simple as that. You can see that because using the add user is very simple and it will get rid of a lot of burden actually. So add user, the name of the user that already existed. Now put it to sudo. As simple as, of course, it will ask for a root permission. So you can see that, yeah, adding user to group sudo, adding user to test to group sudo, done. So if I go sudo su dash for test, you can see that this time it give me this information. But anyway, let's put the ID. Now we have the groups, the test, and the sudo. And if I type groups here as well, it has the test sudo. If I cat the etc group again, you can see inside it, if I scroll up, you can see for the sudo group, we have the Ubuntu, Mapper, and test. All right. And by the way, the test user is the same as here. Okay. Because by default in Linux, every user you create, it will come with a group. It will create, a group will be created automatically with the same name. So Ubuntu, yeah, it has user and group. I have this user Mapper, it has this group Mapper as well. Okay. Now, by the way, using the user add, actually, yeah, I'm not saying it's bad or something. Actually, by the way, under the hood, add user is using combination of commands, which is a user add and something called user mode. Okay, so after you user add, you create user mode. You put options to create directories or home directory or something. Okay. Okay, so that's why I recommend you to use add user. Actually, it is much simpler and it's not powerful. They are the same. No security reason, no performance, and whatever. Okay, they are the same. But add user is very simple. Just add user, the name of the user, and then add user, the group you want to add it to, whatever group you want. By the way, if I type add user, and for example, let's add test1. Test1 is not existed, and put sudo. This will not work. Even if I type sudo privilege, I mean. Now, why is that? Now here you can see sudo add user test1 sudo. As you can see, the test1 does not exist. So I need to add it first, like this, and put whatever options I want, or whatever password. And here, then I can add it here. By the way, if I add it again, it will not work. You can see that the user is already existed, but if I add with sudo, with the group, I mean, yeah, it will work fine. And if I add it again, by the way, it will not work because the test1 is already member of the sudo. Now, add user here, actually, it works like that. Actually, it's not like workaround or something. Now, the command itself provides such a thing, okay, which is creating users and adding users to groups. Okay, all right. So far, so good. And if you want, or if you are curious how to use the user add, you can read more about it. Actually, it's not hard, by the way. You can use the two commands, user add and with the user mode as well, to add a user to a specific groups. But anyway, I'm not using it. I'm using the add user. Now, how to delete a user? It is the same, so simple. So if I type man for the del user, this is the command we will use. So you can see this is to delete. We have delete user, delete group. This is to remove a user or group. Okay. So if I type del user and I type the provide the name of it, which is test. And yeah, of course I forget that. Then you can see that the test user is now removed. Okay. And again, let's remove the test1, by the way. It is the same. Now, if I cat etc group, to see if it is there or not, you can see that it is not here. If I cat etc password to see if the user is there, no, it is not there. Okay, so if I cat with sudo permission the etc shadow, just in case, you can see that as well it is not there. All right, so let's clear the screen and I want to show you something. So if I go to the home directory, actually you can see that even though the user is removed and its group is removed, and it is removed, by the way, if I scroll up here, so if you, yeah, let's cat the etc group again. So as you can see, cat etc group, and if you scroll up to until you reach the sudo, so you can see that it is removed from the sudo group as well. So it has been deleted immediately or completely from the system. But why it is still on the home directory? Now this is something bad, right? You may say this is something bad or wrong. This is wrong. No, actually this is the best practice, by the way, because for example you have a specific user and he or she done specific commands in the past, okay, and you want to disable the user, not remove it completely. So that's why the command kept its home directory. So which means every file, each commands he put in the history or each thing will be there, so we can access it. So imagine if I am a root user, okay, so I will not put that. Currently I am a root user and I can go inside whatever I want. So here you can see that, yeah, I am opening everything inside it, the bash history, the bash logout, bash rc, profile, anything here I can find it in the test or test1. By the way, no big deal. Actually, the del user option here, you can see that we have option which is delete the home directory. So man del user again, you can see that we have it here. Let's search about it. I will give you, as you can see, we have this option which is remove home, as you can see. So this is to remove the home directory of a user if it's a mail spool or backup specified at dealt after having performed a backup. So dash remove home, it will remove the home directory for the current user. Let's have a test, a really quick test, don't worry. So if I type del user test again with sudo permission, you can see that the user test does not exist, all right? So if I type it again, but this time with dash remove dash home, okay, which is the option we saw. All right, now if I type ls, you can see that it is still here. Why? Because yeah, we have it. So let's add sudo add user test this time. As you can see, the home directory already existed. So 123 123 123 123 whatever things. Okay, so if I type ls, yeah, it is here and the test is here. So I want to del user with sudo permission, del user test dash remove dash home. All right, if I type ls this time, okay, so the test has been deleted, the test user, as well as the test group, as well as the test directory, home directory for the test user. All right, so everything is working as expected, or I can just remove it immediately like this. So if I type sudo rm-rf the test1 and delete it, you can see that I already delete the test1 directory. All right, thanks for watching. All right, now for the file system. Well, actually, I want you to learn some of the commands. I will not go too deep into it, actually. So we have the df command, the du command, the lsblk, the list block, and we have the mount command, okay, which is like this, okay? So let's start with the first three, then we will go to the mount. Okay, now here we have the df-h option, okay? So here is, if you can see man, the df, you can see to report file system disk usage or disk space usage, okay? So actually this is used to show all the information about the disk you have or the file systems, let's say. So for example, the udiv here, the size, how much it used, how much it is available, and the use in percent, and where it is mounted, okay? So for example, for here we have the div xvda1 and the used is 1 giga, as you can see 1.2 from 8 giga, okay, and the available is 6.6 and it is used only 15%, okay, and you can see where it is mounted. It is mounted in the slash, which means that everything. So if I go there like this, you can see that all of these files or directories are mounted there, or are there existed on the XVDA file system, okay, or this volume, let's say. What if I want to see the size of this specific file or directory, okay, or all the files inside this directory? We will use the disk U or the DU, the disk utilization. So for example, you can see that we have this init rd.image, whatever, okay. So du -h, and by the way, if you notice that I type -h here in the df options as well, -h means that the human readable. So as you can see, the size is in megabyte, in gigabyte, instead of typing it as a byte, okay. So because if you saw like this, let's return back here. So if I type df -h, or without -h, I mean, this time you can see that the udiv, yeah, here the udiv is 452 megabyte, but here is a very long number, and you don't need to divide by byte or by kilobyte, and this is not readable so much like the df-h, okay. So that's why we use the -h option. So for the du, again, let's return to our example. Let's return to the du, okay. So du disk utilization -h for the init rd image, okay, like this. And if I click on it, you can see that its size is 0, okay. Well, maybe I should choose another one. Let's choose this VM Linux. Don't know if this is 0 as well. Yeah, okay, whatever. Let's go to the here for the file 2 du-h file 2, okay, like this. And you can see that it is in 4 kilobyte. So its size is 4 kilobyte, all right. So again, without -h option like this, you can see that it is 4 only. So actually this is not readable. Now, what if I want, for example, let's clear the screen. Let's cd ... Okay, yeah, by the way, this is something we didn't talk about actually, which is the dot directory and the dot directory. By the way, dot directory, which means the current directory I am in, okay? The dot, which means the parent directory, because if you noticed, if you type this command ls-la, a means all files. So if you can see here, you can see that we have these two directories, the dot, which means the current directory, and the dot. The dot means the parent directory of the current directory. So if I type the pwd, the print working directory command, you can see that it is start from the root, the home, Ubuntu, okay? So currently I am inside the Ubuntu directory. So the dot here means the Ubuntu directory, which is the current directory I am in. The parent directory is the home directory, all right? As you can see, the owner and the group is root, which means the home directory, which is something inside the root, or the root, for the root user, all right? So if I type cd ... to go to the parent, and these are called relative path. Actually, there are two paths, absolute path and relative path. The absolute path, you put the path like this, just copy and paste and put the absolute path starting from the root directory, all right, which is / in my case here. But the relative, which means that from where I am. So dot this means that I am using a relative path, okay. So which means the parent directory, which means I am in Ubuntu, I will go to the home. So if I click here and I type baud again, you can see currently I am in the home. So if I type ls-l a, you can see that we have 3 directories only. The current directory, and in my case here, it will be the home directory. As you can see, the owner is root, the group is root as well. But the Ubuntu directory here is for the Ubuntu user, all right? All right. Now, what if I want to see the size of this directory? I will use the disk utilization command as well on Ubuntu. But you can see that it shows us everything actually. Yeah, please ignore about this. Remember when we put it to not be readable or executable. Anyway, it's okay, no big deal. So you can see that it shows us everything actually. Then it shows us the whole size for the whole directory, which is 64 kilobyte. Now, what if I don't need to show all of these options and I want to show only the Ubuntu, the size for the Ubuntu directory? As simple as that. You will put the -s option, which is like this, hs. Now, s means summarize. So summarize only the directory I wanted, so which is Ubuntu in my case. So you can see that it shows us like this, all right? Now, please ignore about this. So actually, let's remove it. Or we can change the permission for it, but for now, let's remove it and It's a good exercise for now. So actually it is a file, which means I don't need to provide the path for it. So if I type it like this, actually I need to remove the directory itself. So if it is a directory, which means that I put -r, and yeah, as you can see, if you can see, it is permission denied. I need to put it rf. If this didn't work, I need to put the sudo dot and it will be removed. Okay, so if I type the commands again, which is the du-hs as well, you can see that now it is only summarized for the Ubuntu user, and as you can see, the size is 60 kilobyte now, not 64. As you can see, it has been decreased. All right. Now, finally, the last option or the last command we have, which is the mount, as you can see. Now, actually, let's put man mount to see the manual page for it. So this is actually to mount a file system. So the syntax is like this: mount, then put the options you want, choose the type, file, -a, and all of that is actually here documented well, actually. So look and see, if only the directory or device is given, for example, you can put mount /dir or -target, whatever. All right. And actually, this is something used if you want to attach or mount volumes, external volumes, for example, or you inserted external volumes and you want to mount them here after you add them, for example, on the AWS. So, for example, in AWS, there is something called EBS, Elastic Block Storage, and this is something to attach another or extra volumes, not the root volumes, and you want to mount it. Well, actually, I will not go into details into the mount options because they will give you all the options or all the commands, just copy and paste in there. All right. Now, in that case, either AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, whatever. Okay. They will provide you with all the thing you want. So the mount here, just keep in your mind that we will use it for mounting the file system or the volumes we want. Just that's it. Okay. Now, remember the format, the syntax, the options. Just read the manual, depends on what you need. Okay, I will not talk about it in details here. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. All right, now let's start with the variables and special variables in the shell scripting. Okay, now the first thing, let's create this file and let's name it shell.sh like this, and ls-l to it. You can see that it is not executable, so chmod +x or user +x if you want it to be more secure, whatever. Okay, ls-l to make sure it has taken, yeah, it has take this execution permission. So vim shells.sh here, the first thing you need to provide this thing, as you can see, which is the bin bash. All right, so which means that if I interpret or if I execute this file, it will be interpreted by using this utility, and this utility is the bash shell. Okay, so var equal hello. Okay, as simple as that. Now, and here I will type echo and with the $var. Okay, so when I assign the value without $, when I echo the value or print the value with $. All right, so exit shift, yeah, here. So as you can see, ./shell. Okay, now please don't get confused with the dot here. Dot, which means it is in the current directory. So if I actually this will work. So let's see this. Yeah, hello. This is the same will work if I typed the absolute path like this and then shell.sh. You can see that it has worked successfully, no problems at all. All right. Now here for the variables, you can see that they are very simple. By the way, you can put strings, you can put characters, you can put integers value, floating, whatever. Okay, all of that will be worked. Okay, no problem. But again, so the operation like the summation, the addition, the subtraction, division, that has a different case, and we will handle it in the operators lectures. Don't worry about it. Now for the special variables. Now actually I summarize it here in this table. You can see that we have the $0, $n, $hashtag, $*, $@ and question mark, $2 and with the exclamation mark, okay, or shift 1. So the first thing, which is the file name of the current script. Okay, so if you type this, actually if you go to it, shell.sh, and typed here echo the $0 like this. Now let's run again. You can see that it will be given the name of the shell, which is the home ubuntu shell.sh, because as you can see, depends on what you executed. So if I type like this shell.sh, it will be shell.sh. And to get rid of the directories, you can use the command called dir name, whatever. Okay, just you can read about it, depends on your usage, whatever. All right, so the other thing, which is the dash n, and this is, as you can see, the numbers actually. So $1, $2, whatever. So this will be the arguments that are used. So for example, if I type sh, the shell, and I typed first, then second, then whatever. Okay, so you can see that this is the first argument and this is the second argument. And if I typed the shell.sh here, for example, and I typed echo 1, then echo $2. Okay, so let's see shell again. Let's shell first, second. You can see that this is hello, this is the first one, has first and second. All right, now here the number of the argument, which is the hash, the number of the arguments. So actually I type 2. Now if I print it actually, so let's see, so let's delete that, we don't need it. Actually if I print it actually like this, all right, so let's see what will give us. Yeah, 0, nothing. But if I typed the first, second, it will be 2. Okay, which means 2 argument has been selected. Now we have the star here, which means that all the arguments that are double quoted, and you can see that it is equivalent as 1, 2, 3, 4. So for example, you typed 4 arguments and you want to show them all, you can just type this and it will show all the arguments that you have typed. Okay, and the at here, $at, is the same as $star with some differences anyway, but they are the same somehow. Okay, now for the question mark, and actually this is very important, which is the exit status of the last command. So for example, let's go here and I typed question mark, which means 0. 0 means that it has been executed correctly. But if I type this command, this is not a command, actually this is a wrong command. And if I typed echo question mark, it will show us 127, which means that this is error. The last command, which is this command, has been issued as an error. Okay, which means the command not found. Okay, actually this is a not command actually, but anyway, I'm just showing you. All right, and we have the $, which means the process number of the current shell. So this will show us the PID of the shell, as you can see. So if I go here and vim shell.sh and I type $, and run the shell again, let's see, it will show the PID for the shell, okay, that has been executed. And finally, we have the $! Which means that we need the process number of the last background command. So let's go here, shell, and put it like this, and let's echo it, and let's see what will show us. And you can see that nothing at all, because we don't have any background command running. All right, by the way, to running anything in the background, you can issue the command, then put the and or the ampersand, okay, shift 7. Okay, so this will run this command in the background. So for example, if I run it like this, you can see we got this PID and it is running in the background as well. As you can see, this is the number of the job, by the way. Okay, by typing Ctrl-Z or Ctrl-C, it will go and exit from the job. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. All right, now it is time to talk about the operators. So if I open the shell and let's remove these. Okay, so var1 or var, let's put inside it. Now actually I will put the back quotation. As you can see, back quotation means that you will put a shell command inside this variable. So if I type echo hello inside this var and I echo var, it will give us hello. Okay, so echo in double quotation hello. Okay, let's see that, yeah, and then echo var, this should give us hello. As you can see, it is hello. All right. So again, let's return here, and inside it, I will use this command, which is the expr or the expression command. So expr command, sorry, expr. Now put 1 plus 1, for example, and then echo the var. Then save it. Then let's run the shell. You can see that it is 1 plus 1. Now you may ask me why this happened, because actually we forgot the spaces between 1 and the plus and the 1. Okay, so actually this is very important in the expression. So here it will give us what we want. So if I run it again, it will be 2, which means the expression worked correctly. Of course, you can put minus, multiplication, division, modulus, a lot of things. Okay, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. Alright, now for the decision makings. We have actually 3 types of formats. If phi or if else phi, then we have the if elif phi. Okay, phi here means the end of if statement. Okay, so let's have a look at the syntax actually. So you can see a equal 10, b equal 20, and if a equal b, and as you can see the dollar sign, echo a is equal to b. If not, as you can see, not equal is equal to b. Now this is for the string. Now if it is an integer number, or if it is number, we will use the dash eq dash less than dash lt, I mean dash le less than or equal, gt greater than, dash ge greater than or equal, and so on. Okay, or dash equal or dash not equal. But anyway, for now, work with me on this. You can see that if a equal b, then it will show us like this. So it is time to run this. So shell, you can see a is not equal to b, but you will get this unexpected operator. Now actually there are no syntax error here, but the thing is, because I am using and it is executed as sh only. So if I type s bash shell.sh like this, you can see no errors at all. A is not equal to b, and that's it. Okay, now for the second format, we will use this. As you can see, a equal 10, b equal 20. If a equal b, then echo a is equal to b. Else, as you can see, else echo a is not equal to b. And you can see here we put the phi, which means that the end of the if statement, as the previous, but this time we added else. All right, so nothing new here. Okay, now finally we have the if, elif, and else, then phi. Okay, so as you can see, a equal 10, b equal 20. So if it is a equal b, then echo a is equal to b. Elif, as you can see, elif and open, it is like the if, but with else plus if. Okay, so elif a not greater than, as you can see, dash gt greater than b. Elif a is less than b, as you can see, so it is less than, else, so none of the condition met. Okay, so let's run this actually and see what will give us. Yeah, a is less than b, but anyway, ignore this because this is sh, not bash shell. So if I bash shell, no problem at all. All right, now finally we have the case statement, and you can see that the fruit is apple, and the case fruit in either this one or this one or this one. But you can see the syntax is like this. So case, then in double quotation I put the variable that we store here, then in, and as you can see, double quotation, and another double quotation, and we have the half of brackets like this. Then if it is right, echo this command, and you can see we have two semicolons, which means the end of this case. Okay, so banana, again double quotation, this is the choice we have, and we close it with this bracket, and echo I like banana, for example, and we have two semicolons, which means the choice has been ended, no more commands. Now finally we have the mango and echo woo, for example, and we have two semicolons, and which means that the case ended here. Okay, so no more commands. And finally we have the case but with a reverse way. Okay, so ESAC, as you can see, case ESAC. All right, now Now let's run this and see what will give us. So if I run the shell, apple pie is quite tasty because the choice was, or the fruit was apple. Okay, actually there are other way to do that. Instead of putting it as hard coded, you can just put and add the dollar sign like this, and here inside it, if I type shell apple, you can see apple is yummy, apple pie is quite tasty. And if I put mango, whoa, and again if I put something like this, nothing will appear. Okay, all right, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. All right, now let's talk about the loops in shell scripting. Okay, now this is an example. As you can see, for shell scripting, a equals 0 while a not dash lt 10, which means less than 10, which is this is the loop, the first loop. Then b equal dollar sign a, then while b not greater than or equal 0, as you can see, do done. All right, so as you can see, while after we open it, do, and after I finish, done. Okay, so do, done. So if I run this, actually, well, you can just copy and paste. Actually, you can write it yourself. It's no big deal, as the syntax is the most important thing here, actually. So how I can write a while loop, this is the syntax. Other than that, it's up to you, all right? Or it depends on you, what you need to do, all right? So let's quit from here and let's run it. You can see it will show us something like that. And actually, this is something nice. Now this is for the while loop. Now for the for loop, actually, well, actually there are other loops like the until or like the select, but I will show you just the for and while. So this is an example. Okay, so I want to delete this first because I forgot to remove it. So var1 in 1 2 3, so do and done. Okay, so which means this is the body of the for, and this is the second for in 0 5, do and done. All right, so you can see now if var is equal than 2, and this means and, okay, var is equal 0, then break 2, else echo var1 var2. Okay, so actually we used the break, which means it will break from the inner loop, which is the inner for loop. Okay, so let's run this and see what will happen. So if I run it, it will show us 1 0 and 1 5. Okay, so if I go again, you can see that the first loop go through in 1 2 3. So the first number is 1, and we go inside the var2, or the second loop, I mean, and var2 in 0, so it will start with 0. So which means that now they are not equal. As you can see, var1 is not equal to 2 and var2 is not equal to 0. So which means else. So we will print the var1 and var2. The same thing for the 2. Well, actually, it doesn't matter about the logic. What is matter for you now is the syntax, actually. So how to use a for loop. And here is the syntax. So for something or the variable in a list, as you can see, like these 1 2 3, or a b c, or anything, and do done. Okay, so after you done from the for loop, which means this is the end of the loop. Okay, and it will keep looping until these are completed. Okay, so it will go through 1 2 3. All right, depends on the condition we have here. And by the way, we can use, instead of break, continue as well. Well, actually, it is basic programming. Anyway, thanks for watching. Now we will talk about the shell functions. Okay, now this is a simple example, as you can see, which is the hello function. As you can see, you define your function here. So hello, and open the brackets, open the braces, and echo hello world. Now to invoke your function, you can just call its name, which is hello, like this, and it will print hello world. Now let's see what will happen now. So shell, yeah, hello world, it worked 100%. Well, actually, this is a simple lecture and quick lecture, but we talked about how the function work. Okay, and it is exactly the same as the basic of programming. Okay, when you invoke the hello function without putting the brackets, just the name. All right, thanks for watching. All right, now what is Linux, what is Unix, and the difference between them? Now, Linux is an open source multitasking multi-user operating system. It is initially developed by Linus Torvalds in 1991, and the Linux OS is widely used in desktops, mobiles, mainframes, etc. Now for the Unix, it is a multitasking, multi-user operating system, but it is not free. And it is used not as an open source, okay? So it was developed in 1969 by Ken Thompson team at AT&T Bell Labs, and it is widely used on servers, workstation, etc. Now here are some of the most important differences between Linux and Unix, okay? So the first thing, for the development. So Linux is an open source and it is developed by Linux community of developers. But Unix was developed at AT&T Bell Labs and it is not open source. For Linux, it is free to use, as you can see the cost. But Unix is licensed OS. Now for Linux, as the supported file system, we have the extension or ext 2, 3, 4, JFS, XFS, a lot of things, FAT32, and TFS, a lot of things actually. Now for the Unix, we have the FS, GP, FS, HFS, a lot of things actually. You can see XFS, ZFS, and so on. Now for the GUI or the graphical user interface for Linux uses KDE and GNOME. Other GUI supported as are LXDE, XFCE, Unity, Mate, and so on. Okay. Well, actually there are more to be honest, but these are the ones that I bought. Now for the Unix was initially a command-based OS. So most of the Unix distribution now have GNOME, okay? Now for the usage for Linux, it is used in wide varieties from desktop, servers, smartphones to mainframes. But for Unix, it is mostly used on servers, workstation, or PCs, alright? Now, for the default shell in Linux, they use Bash or the Born Again shell, and it is the default shell for Linux. Now, for the Unix, the Bourne shell is the default shell for the Unix, okay? Now, for the target processor, Linux was initially developed for Intel's x86 hardware processor. Now, it supports more than 20 processor families. For the Unix, as you can see, Unix supports the PA, RISC, and Itanium family, okay? Well, actually, maybe now it supports more than these. Anyway, so for examples on Linux and Unix, Linux, Ubuntu, Debian, GNU, Arch, Linux, Red Hat, CentOS, and so on. For the Unix, SunOS, Solaris, SCO, Unix, AIX, HP, UltraX, and so on. Okay? Alright. Now, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture where we will see and discuss the Unix architecture. I will see you there. Now, for the Unix architecture. Well, actually, the Linux as well. Alright? So, as you can see, this diagram is the basic block of the Unix system architecture. So, you can see that the first thing, we have the upper layer, which is the application programs. So, we have the mail, the FTP, the utilities, the DBMS, and so on. Alright? So, this is the application layer. Then, we have the shell layer. Okay? And the shell layer here, it has the bash, the Z shell, the S shell, C shell, the more, the commands, environment, okay? CPP, and so on. Now we have the inner kernel layer and we have the hardware, okay? So as you can see, the shell communicate between the applications and the kernel, okay? All right, now let's have a detailed information. So here are the main concepts that unify all the version of Unix. So the first thing, it is the kernel. So the kernel, as you can see, the one here, is the heart of the operating system. It interacts with the hardware and the most of the tasks like memory management, task scheduling, and file management. Okay, so here the kernel is the one that's responsible to control the hardware. All right, but how we control it? By using the shell. All right, so the shell here is the utility that processes your request. When you type in a command at your terminal, the shell interprets the command and calls the program that you want. So the shell uses standard syntax for all the commands. The C shell, for example, Bourne shell, Korn shell, are the most famous shells which are available with most of the Unix variant. Okay, so here are the shell. It has a lot of shells like the C shell, Korn shell, Bash, whatever. Okay, so you put your command, interpret it, and it will handle it, or it will communicate direct with the kernel, and then the kernel communicate with the hardware. So no one can communicate through the hardware immediately, only the kernel, and the shell communicate through kernel. All right, and of course, if you have a root permission or full permission, admin permission, then you can do things only the user admin can do it, or the root user can do it. All right, now for the commands and utilities, as you can see, there are various commands and utilities which can be used in your day-to-day, like the copy, cp, move, cat, grep. Okay, so some of the examples, they are actually, as they mention here, 250 standard commands plus then numerous others provided, like or through the third-party softwares. So for example, the ones for the GPUs like NVIDIA SMI or whatever, actually these are a third party. So by default, if you type NVIDIA-SMI, for example, to check your NVIDIA GPU, it will show you command not found, right? Okay, now this command actually is considered a third party, and so on. Okay, now finally we have the files and directories. Like all the Unix is organized into files, the Unix or the Linux organized into files, and all files are then organized into directories. And these directories are further organized a tree-like structure called the file system. Now, actually, don't worry about the commands, don't worry about the files, the management, the processes management. All of the commands and these will be handled in a separate lectures and in detail, okay, with a practical way, okay? So don't worry at all. But again, here are the diagram for the architecture of Unix or Linux. We have the application, then we have the shell, we have the kernel, we have the hardware. The application here, which is the mail, the FTP, the telnet, actually the terminal emulator considered to be application, okay? Because the terminal is something different than the shell, actually. The terminal emulator act as the shell to be something showed off to us, okay? And the shell is the concept or is the term that responsible to communicate with kernel, okay? So it is as a logical, not as a thing, okay? So finally, we have the kernel and the hardware. The hardware like the CPU, the RAM, the disk, whatever. All right? Okay. Now, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture. All right. Now it is time to start with the basic commands. The first command we will use, which is the ls command. ls, which is listing the files or listing objects, directories, whatever. So if I type it like here, you can see that I have the workspace directory, remote.jar, whatever, remoting directory, and so on. By the way, directory means folder in Windows. So if you are coming from Windows, directory for Linux, and Windows for Windows, it is called folder. Okay, anyway. Now to see where I am currently, yeah, you can see that I have this tilde, and this tilde means that the current home directory for the current user, which is the Ubuntu user. So you can see that from the prompt here, we have the Ubuntu, which is the user, at the name of the the name of the current computer, or let's say current server, the name of the workstation, whatever. Okay, so if I type the pwd, which is the print working directory, you can see that I am inside the home Ubuntu. All right, so far so good. Now, what if I want to change the current directory? If I type ls, you can use the cd, which is change directory. cd to workspace, for example. Let's go to workspace. And here inside it, you can see that we have this specific things, whatever, okay, which is another directory. All right. Now, actually, for the ls, it has a lot more options like ls-l, a, t, h, actually a lot of things, but we will talk about these in a separate lecture. Now, what if I want to see, or let's go to another place, okay, or here like this. Okay, now what if I want to see the content of this remoting.jar, but maybe it is a binary, I think I can't see. I will use the cat or concatenation tool, which is the cat remoting.jar. Let's see if that will work. Yeah, you can see it starts showing the content of this file, but yeah, as you can see, because this is a binary file or executable file, so we cannot see its file as a string. We will see as arbitrary values. And again, we have the echo command, and this echo command is used to print the argument or a specific argument. So for example, we have environment variable called path, for example. So if I type echo with $sign and path as a capital, you can see that we are printing the environment variable path, which is something good. And by the way, the path environment variable is used to store the location where the binaries are located. Now, as you can see, the current screen is very messy. So if I want to clean it, I will use the clear command. Okay, so clear the screen. All right. Now, what if I have this specific command, for example, the ls, and I want to see all the options, the documentation, the manual for it? I will use the man page. Okay, so if I type man, you can see what manual page do you want. So if I type man, which is the manual for the man, and you can see that, yeah, it will start showing what is the name, which is an interface to the online in reference manual. And you can see that a description, options, overview, a lot of things actually. All right. So what if I type man with the command I want, which is the ls, for example? You can see that ls, it is used to list directory contents. And you can see that we have the -a option, which is all, -a almost all, -b, c, f, g, z, x. As you can see, actually it has a lot of things, and the status, the author, bugs, whatever. Okay, so actually everything as a manual will be there. All right, which is the man, by using the man command. Now, where to find the ls command? So I know the ls command is used to list in directory, but where it is located. So how to know a specific command where it is located? I will use a command called which, and this which actually it will tell us where is the binaries are located. Okay, so if I type man the which to see, as you can see, it is used to locate a command. So here, which return a path names of the files or links which could be executed in the current environment, whatever. Okay, blah blah blah. Now let's try use it. So which ls. Oh, you can see that the ls command is located at the /bin/ls. So if I go there, if I type ls to the bin ls, you can see that, yeah, it is here, as you can see. By the way, don't worry about the listing or the ls command. We will have a separate or a complete lecture for the ls -l, a, t, and c. What are those? So if I type here ls-l, you can see that there are a lot of things, which is the long list, by the way, long list format. You can see that a lot of things here. What are these? What is D? What is RWX? What is this Ubuntu? What is this numbers? What are those numbers? All of that will be discussed in that lecture, so don't worry for now. But for now, we took a brief about how Linux works and what are the basics commands that I will use them every day, every moment. We will continue learning more and more in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Now it's time to talk about the directories. So now the first thing I want to mention, we have two path types actually, the absolute path and relative path. So what are the absolute path and relative path? Now the absolute path actually, so if I type the pwd, you can see that I'm starting from the /, which means the root directory or the root directory of all the system. All right, not the root home directory, by the way, which is /root. This is the home directory for the root. Okay, so /home Ubuntu. This is the absolute path for this directory or this current directory. All right. Now, if I want to go to workspace, if I type ls, you can see that I am inside the Ubuntu home, but you can see that I have workspace and we have the remoting directory. So if I want to go to workspace, I can use just cd workspace, right? Like this. All right. Now, actually, this is the relative path, but the absolute path is like this. So you can see that when I typed baud or pwd, I took that. So I'm starting from the scratch or from the root, home, Ubuntu, then workspace. Okay. All right. By the way, I need to provide a cd here, actually, the cd command. Yeah. So you can see that. Go to home, Ubuntu, workspace. All right. If I type here, yeah, it worked as well. So this is the difference between the absolute and relative. Relative, which means it is relative to my current path, which means if I want to go, so if I return here, so if I want to go to workspace, so if I want to go to the workspace directory, it needs to be in the current path, okay, which is the current path here by using the ls command. Then I can go cd and put its name. But if it is not, I need to provide the absolute path, which is starting from the root, what we saw, which is the home, Ubuntu, and then workspace. So far, so good. Now, we have two things I want to say. Now, we have the dot and we have the dot, okay? All right. Now, the dot, which means the current directory. Dot or double dots, which means the parent directory. All right. Now, what are you talking about? We don't understand anything, actually. Okay. Now, if I type this command, ls-a, which means all, everything, print everything here, you can see that now we have other directory, other things. Now you can see that we have dot bash history, dot bash, dot something, dot something. And by the way, anything started with dot like this, dot vim info, dot ssh, dot profile, these are a hidden files or directories. So you can see that this is a directory. But because it is started with dot, which means that this is a hidden directory. Now this is profile, dot profile, which means a hidden regular file, text file, all right, and so on, all right. Now you can see that, yeah, these are normal directories and file. Some of them are hidden by starting with dot, and some of them are not, like these, like the remoting.jar, whatever. But we have these two, which is the dot, and we have the dot, or double dots, I mean. The dot, which means the current directory, which is the home Ubuntu, all right, which is the Ubuntu directory, the home directory of the Ubuntu user. The dot, which is the parent directory of the current directory, which means what? If I am assuming that I am on the Ubuntu, which is the parent, yeah, you are right, which is the home, yeah. So why? So how to use these actually? Yeah, good question. So let's clear the screen first. Let's put ls command. Now we have the workspace, right? We want to go to it. We will use the workspace like this. So far, so good. ls. Now we have this directory, whatever. It's okay. Now, what if I want to return back? Should I provide the absolute path over and over, which is cd home Ubuntu over and over each time I go there? No, actually, this doesn't make sense. Now, actually, there are two ways. The first thing, we have an alias or something called, but just typing the cd command like this and press enter, this will return to the home directory of the current user, which is the Ubuntu, which is home Ubuntu. Okay, so like this, you can see that we return back. But imagine if I am inside the workspace, and inside a workspace I have in dir1, and inside directory, the first directory, and the second directory, third directory. So I am very deep into the workspace directory. I don't need to return to the home directory of Ubuntu, then go again, then go. No, this doesn't make sense, right? How to do that? So let's create the screen again. ls cd to the workspace. Now, what if I want to return back? You will use the parent directory, which is the dot. Okay, so cd dot means I will return to the parent directory of the current working directory. Okay, so the current directory is workspace. The parent directory of it, which is what? Yeah, which is the Ubuntu home directory. So if I return like this, so you can see that we have returned back. Now actually, so let's go again. Actually, by the way, you can put slashes, by the way. So cd dot. Now you can put here, put it like this, I mean. And inside it, you can put workspace, then return, then workspace. So you can see that now, actually this is somehow weird, but you can see that I am returning back, then I go again to workspace. I return back, then I go again to workspace, all right? By the way, the dot here or double dot is inside every directory in the whole Unix system, okay? So every directory has two special directories, which is the dot and double dot. The dot for the current directory, and dot which is the parent directory, okay? Now you may ask me, but we know what is the double dots. What is the dot? Don't worry, we will talk about these when time comes. Don't worry. Okay, so let's execute this command. We will return back. Currently, we are in the workspace directory. We will return back, then we will go again. We will return back, then we will go again. So let's see. Yeah, actually, this doesn't make sense, I know, but actually, it's good to understand how the parent directory or the directories work inside Linux. So you can see that, yeah, everything is working as expected. All right, so we return back, then we go again, return back, go again. Okay, now another thing. Now, how to create a directory? Now, this is what we are talking about. We want to create a directory and we want to remove a directory. Okay, the first thing is use the make dir command. So this command will create a directory. So let's name it dir1. Let's put ls. Yeah, dir1 is here now. Let's go inside it. dir1. Cool. So far, so good. So if I type ls-la or -a, which means everything, you can see that we still have these special directories, which is the dot and the dot or double dots, which is the current, which is the dir1, or the parent. And the parent for dir1, what it is? Yeah, you guessed right, which is the workspace. Yeah. So far so good. Now I want to create another directory inside dir1. Make dir or make directory dir2. Okay, now let's go inside it, which is dir2. All right, so far so good. Now I want to give you another shortcut, which is the cd dash. Now cd dash actually works as the back. So if you are opening your browser, for example, this is just arbitrary example, okay, or a simple example, and you go inside this specific website and you need to return back. So you press or you click on the back button, right? So actually this works like this, cd dash. So you can see that. So I am currently in the cd. So let's return back on the dir1. You can see it like this. I have the dir2. I go to dir2. If I type cd dash, it will return me back to the dir1, which is this one, okay? It will give me the absolute value, which is this one. Now you may ask me, but I got confused. Please, what is the difference between the dash and the dot dot? All right, please don't get confused. I will explain that in details. So first thing, I want to go to workspace. All right, okay. Now inside it, we have the dir1. Please ignore this thing, okay? We have the dir1, okay? Now cd dir1, and I don't need to press enter then cd dir2. No, I will put dir2, okay? I will press enter now. So you can see that I am inside the dir2, and the parent for it, which is dir1, and the parent for dir1, which is the workspace, and so on, okay? So if I type cd dot dot, where it will go? Yeah, it will go to dir1. But if I type cd slash, which means return to the previous directory, which is where? Which is the workspace, not the parent for the dir2. So let's see. Yeah, which is the workspace. So actually this means return back to the previous current directory, to the previous working directory. You got me now? So this is the difference between the dash and dot dot. So far so good. You saw how we created the dir1 and dir2. Okay, now it's time to remove the dir2, okay, or dir1. So let's go inside the dir1 first, and let's learn how to remove a directory. So here you can see that the first thing, I will use two commands. Either one will work fine, but from my opinion, it is better to use the second command. Oh, I will talk about it. So we have the rm dir. This is to remove a directory, but actually this command require you that the directory is empty. So you can see that inside the ls dir2, by the way, if I type this, it will list all the content of this directory, which is dir2, which is empty, by the way, you can see. And if I type rm dir like this and remove dir2, yeah, you can see that it has been removed. No problem, okay? So let's make a directory another. Let's make it again. Okay, yeah, it is here. Yeah, it is here, as you can see. Now, actually, the second command, which is the thing I recommend you, or it is better for you, which is using the rm command. Okay, so rm, it is removed. So this actually remove regular files, remove linked list, remove directories, whatever it is. Remove directories recursively, by the way. So you can see that if I removed the dir1, it will remove everything inside it, no matter what. Empty, not empty, whatever. Okay, but I will use the -r command and f, which is the force. So rm to remove, r recursively, f force. So remove the dir2. And you can see it has been removed. All right, so far so good. Okay, now actually I want to talk about another thing here. So let's return back, or before I return back, actually let's make a directory which is dir2. So to show you that if I remove it, if I remove the dir1, you can see that, oh no, directory is not empty. But if I type rm-rf dir1, you can see it has been removed successfully. So far so good. All right, so far so good. Now I want to create a directory dir1 and dir2. So if I type make dir1, and if I put the slash dir2, and by the way, the slash here, which is the forward slash, in Windows it is the opposite, which is the backslash. In Windows it is the backslash, in Linux it is the forward slash, which is this symbol. Okay, If I type this, you can see that no such file or directory, which is what? Which is the dir1. As you can see, dir1 is not existed for you to create it. So how can you create dir2 while dir1 is not existed? So we will use option using the make dir, which is the -p option. Now -p option used to create a directory or make directory, and if the parent is not existed, which is in our case the dir1, create it please. Okay, so let's type here. Yeah, so far so good. Dir1 has been created, so let's go inside it. Yeah, first let's clear the screen, sorry. Yeah, and inside dir1, which is we have dir2. Yeah, everything is working 100%. All right, now let's cd here. Actually, this is to return to the parent, which is the dir1, but I don't need to go to the parent, which is dir1. I need to go to the workspace. How should I do this? Well, actually, maybe you don't know about it yet, but actually we can use the dot again. All right, you got me? You can use dot not just once. Actually, let's have details. cd dot returns to the parent directory of dir2, which is dir1. Okay, so if I type here, which means return to the parent directory of dir2, because of dir1, sorry, because currently after we execute this command or this directory, after we go to this directory, to the parent directory of dir2, which is dir1, we will go to the parent directory of dir1, which is the workspace. So this will return me back to the workspace. So if I go here, yeah, you can see that I return to the workspace. So actually it is simple. If you imagine it, it is very simple. Return to the parent directory of the dir2, which is dir1, then return to the parent directory of the dir1, which is workspace. So actually no big deal. Please don't get confused. It is very simple. Okay, and by the way, you will get used to it. Don't worry at all. Believe me on that. I'm telling you. Now, ls command, you can see that we have the dir1 as well. Okay, now we saw that by using the rm dir1, we couldn't remove it because it is not empty, because it has the dir2 as well. Okay, so how to delete directories recursively? So imagine I want to remove the dir1 and everything inside it. I will use this time the -b option. Okay, so if I type it like this, you can see, yeah, the directory is not empty. But if I type dir2, so actually this will remove everything. So if I type ls, yeah, you can see that dir1 has been deleted, as well as dir2, which is as expected. But you can see that using rmdir, actually it is safe. Yeah, it is safe somehow, because imagine you have this very important directory and you want to delete it, for example, after you archive it, for example, but you remember that you didn't archive it yet. So using the rm-rf is very dangerous in this case. But by the way, nobody do that. Actually, everything is automated currently. So, and if it is something important, you don't remove it. So actually using the rm-rf is better, from my personal opinion, than using the rmdir. Yeah, I know rmdir is more safe, because if you want to check if this directory is empty or not, you can just put the rmdir. If it is not empty, it will not be removed. But rm-rf, it will remove everything, no matter what, by using the f, by the way, f option, which is force. But actually, it depends on what you prefer. From my opinion, or my personal opinion, I prefer using rm-rf, because actually you have a lot of work to do. So it's not time to check this is empty or not. I know it is empty by doing the ls command like this. So ls, the name of the dir, which is dir1. By the way, I already removed it. So ls dir1, it will show everything inside dir1. As simple as that. Then rm-rf. Yeah, I know we will have a shortcut. Instead of doing that, we can do the rmdir, whatever. Okay, so it's up to you what you prefer. But I'm telling you, I'm teaching you every command that used here for you as a DevOps or as a developer. All right, thanks for watching. All right, now it's time to talk about the ls command, which is very important command, the listing command, with more details and more options. Okay, so actually you can just type man ls, and here you can see all the options, all the things, all the values you want. Well, it's not like about these, but I want to mention the most important ones. Okay, So let's return here actually, and let's put the ls. You can see that we have these. Now, the ls-a option, this to print every directories or every file, including the hidden one. So ls-a, and you can see that, yeah, we have the .sudo as admin, .vim info, .profile. By the way, anything is started with dot as either as a regular file or a directory or a linked list or whatever files, it will be considered hidden. Okay, so using the ls command by itself, it will not print anything, but ls-a, it will be, or they will be printed. Okay, so far so good. Now we have the ls-t, or let's talk about the ls-l. Okay, sorry, let's clear the screen first. So yeah, ls-l, which is this one. So actually this will print the current files, but as you can see, we didn't include the a, which means only the visible, not the hidden. Okay, only the visible file and directories will be listed. And you can see that we have the L here, which means the long list format. Okay, so you can see that including what is the type, what is the permission, links, user, group, last modified date, and so on. Okay, now what if I want to combine the ls-l with all, which means I need all the files, but I need them, the hidden files included as well. I will put ls-la or -al. It doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter. Okay, so ls-la, which means it will print everything and as a list or a long list format. Okay, so you can see that, yeah, we have everything here, and here are, don't worry about the permission, about the user group, what is d, what is slash, everything will be discussed, but later on the next lectures, not in this lecture currently. Don't worry at all. And we will have everything in details there, and you will get to understand everything. So no worries. Please don't be afraid. Do not panic. You will understand everything, and you will start looking at these. Oh, this is very simple. I know everything. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about something else, which is the ls-l, but this time with h. So you can see that the numbers here. Now don't worry about the numbers. We will talk what are those numbers. But for now, you can see that the numbers here is very big. So you can see this number. What is this number? It doesn't make sense. Okay, but by typing the h, which means human readable, so the number here will be like this. Okay, so you can see that. Let's clear the screen first. Sorry about this. So ls-l-a-h. Okay, so long list, all files, and as a human readable. So you can see that now it will be 4K, 1 megabyte, 4K, 107, whatever. Actually, these are bytes. Okay, so if I type it without h this time, you can see that here is 4K, but here is 496. Okay, now this is easy actually, because we know that this is 4K, but for number like this. Okay, by the way, it is easy as well, but actually when you have a lot of job, a lot of tasks to do, your daily task, so you will not have this luxury. Oh, it's very simple. No, actually your mind will be very busy. Okay, so it's better to use the h to print it as a human readable, which you can see that here it is 1.5 megabyte. Okay, and here is, yeah, 1,500,000, whatever. Okay, all right, so far so good. So h, I combine it with the la, so it will give me that we have it as a long or as a human readable. Okay, okay, one last thing I want to mention, which is the la. Let's put the ls-la. Okay, and ls-lat, but this time. Okay, now t, it will be sort the times or sort the files depend on the last modified date. Okay, so you can see that here these are the modified dates. So you can see that here it is from 29 December, here is 29 December, May. As you can see, they are not ordered. Okay, but here by using the t, they are ordered currently. So you can see that the up to date is here, which is 29 December, and here actually this is July, then we have the May, then we have the April as well. Okay, so you can see that we have the files ordered, not as a listing here, actually as an alphabetic. You can see that we're starting from the B or dot first, then for the dots we B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. Then we have the without the dot, I mean D, A, B, C, D, R, W, whatever. Okay. Here is by default is the alphabetic order, but if using the T, we will sort them depends on the last modified date. Okay. All right. So far so good. Now again, don't worry about the permission, the what are those number, what is the root, what is Ubuntu, what is those. Don't worry, we will talk about these in details in the next lectures. Okay, so keep with me for now, understand or practice this ls, because the ls is very important command for you as a Linux administrator, DevOps, developer, whatever. Okay, all right, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture.